put that on. Like masterpieces, the lexicon of instrumental, deacon of the speakers, a Jewish kid in his rap, like a Mexican with some sprinkles.
He hooks himself back in, they want it, Kiffy's not able, it's a pentakill!
Second, they'll fight a second. Chippy is on an absolute tear right now.
Welcome back. I've had to be a little bit of a peacekeeper between the three of them over here, but Max, Skimmy, Rusty, we've got our... Hey, what up?
We're chill, it's just these two.
That's true. That's actually true. It's just that I'll hold him back. I'll hold him back. I got him.
He's a
Come here,
pacifist.
bro.
He would never.
Hug and make out.
It's make up.
No, let's make out, bro. It's Pride Month. Let's just make out. Why not?
I'm for it.
I'm about it, bro.
Reading
and I'll
things
be like,
front to cover.
oh, it tastes
and
like
hugging
mint
and
chocolate chip
making
ice cream, bro. Damn.
Okay, I want to keep this show moving because we have...
Who's our first team, Mac? I'm glad you asked that because it is. It's Direwolves.
It's
What a great team they are, Direwolves. Nat, tell me about Direwolves.
Oh my gosh, I could tell you so much about Direwolves. The main thing that sticks out to me though is their jungler. Oh my gosh, you got a new, fresh face, Rusty.
Yes, we do.
You like that little
I'm
deflection?
still laughing. Why'd you pick me?
I don't know.
Shark is playing. He was here with Peace for a little bit before they disappeared. I'm sorry. It's hard to say words when you're laughing. But Sharka, from what we know as well, is almost plug-and-play style with Poltron, except that he loves to be those facilitators, right? When I think of Sharka, from what we've seen, what we know, solo, Q, scrims, everything, he is Sejuani. So to see that integrated will be very interesting, but he also is a very experienced, smart player that I look forward to seeing how he works with this team.
And from memory, when he came into this one, he was actually a support role swapping into the jungle position. So we were very curious to sort of see how he'd integrate into this role, what he would do. And I think he brought a very much support mindset to the position. I don't need to carry, I do need to be that facilitator, which I think can certainly work. What did we have? We had a game with the Sejuani from Maokai from memory as well. So the meta hasn't strayed too far away from that point, so it should be very much at ease.
Sorry, I was just so distracted right now. But yes, Direwolves having that little bit of change up. It'll be nice to see the growth from what they had in Poltron, especially if you guys are saying it's a little bit of an upward but lateral movement. And then obviously they're coming up against the other Wolf pack, Vertex, Max.
Yeah. What's going on, Max?
Well, Tomasino
What's going on, Max?
is playing the AD carry role. So we have received word that there was a delayed sub. Wudon coming in. Another rookie playing in the top lane, which means Tomasino is going to head towards that bot lane. I've also heard that because of this change, they are going to be losing 2 bans, but this is a young rookie squad. They got absolutely swept by the Chiefs in their opening week. Not a very nice start to their debuts in the LCO.
It's the Chiefs though, okay? We've got to take it with a grain of salt. Even though you get 2-0'd, it is Chiefs. You know, just put a little bit of a sprinkle of, take it for what it is.
Hopium.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just
Well,
hopium over
almost
there.
is like a hazing process. Like, welcome to the LCO. How's that going?
Let's hug and make out.
Skimmy's there making out with everyone.
We could, but like that's beside the point. They were down 10k gold. They were down bad for something more than that.
I was going to use that as a segue, but I am not. Instead, I am just going to say an interview is ready. Zerona's joining us from Direwolves. Hey, how are you going?
Good, thank you.
I want to just ask, having Shaka come in now, is this something that's been on the cards for a while for you guys? Are you well-versed? This is going to be him just slotting in and you're like, life's going to be breezy. I have a jungler I'm familiar with.
I wouldn't say it's like simply plug and play. Like we are working towards improving, but it's not something that's like super long term. It's more on a short base notice.
I just I couldn't help but notice something in the screen right next to you. If you could just read that one for us.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, no, neither. That's my bad eyesight, Max. Sorry.
Blink twice if your teammates are making you play weak side and won't let you have any say in the draft. There we go. On a more serious note, though, we've seen so far the 2 top lane games today that we've had have been Cassante, Renekton, all this boring stuff. Is there anything exciting you're looking to in the meta to bring in that's new potentially on this patch?
No, maybe. We'll see how it goes.
We were also just looking at the Vertex lineup beforehand, and they've obviously had like a sub, a little bit of change up. Do you think this is going to be an easier matchup for you? Like, I want to know where's the confidence level that you're just going to come in and you're going to like double, solo kill like top lane over and over again?
Look, unfortunately for them, they already didn't have the strongest of lineups, and with a top laner playing the ADC position, it's not the matchup we were hoping for, but we're just going to come in and 2-0 them.
Alrighty, I love the confidence. I love the little insight that you've given as well. Zerenus, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck today.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Man, a few words, huh?
Yeah,
Man.
there goes my ever asking draft questions before a game ever.
Yeah, it's tough.
You gotta poise it in a certain way that's just like, what do you think of this matchup, and what are the chances that we could see it in LCO as a whole, not just from you specifically?
Yeah, hypothetically.
Hypothetically, like, you know, gun to your head, if you had to pick it, would it be picked?
But I think if there's any game like you could trash talk and you could give your whole draft away, it would be this game. You know what I mean? Like, from what he said, by the way, can I just say
I'm
that? Like,
just
he seemed very confident.
Quoting the 2-0
So,
potential.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
he seemed very confident. Obviously, Wudon, he has experience in amateur. This is definitely his first time playing in a stage this big at this level. And Tomasino busting out the rookie 80 carry. So, yeah, that will be interesting to see.
It will be. I also want to know, do you think Direwolves will be changing their idea on what their win condition is? Do you think now they're going to want to play through bot side a lot heavier? Do you think that they should still try and distribute a little bit evenly, Rusty?
They kind of already did, right? Like, Praedyth
Yeah.
was kind of their win condition, so now I think it's just more like... I actually think they approach the draft and they're like, I don't know. Are you going into this draft phase, you're just picking for yourself, and you're like, we'll see what Tomasino plays as AD, because he could have one champion, he could be playing a top lane champion right now. We don't actually know where it's going to go, so
Right.
it could be Ken and AD for all we know.
Yeah, great. That could definitely work.
Why not?
Static Shiv.
Yeah.
It's
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
He's holding on to it. You know that photo of the backpack that's holding on by a thread? That's Skimmy with
Tell you
Static
what.
Shiv being picked.
That's some
Come on.
That's some
Just
strong
let it go,
tailoring,
bro.
man. I tell you
Just
what,
let it go.
I want
It
that
did
tailor
get
in my
buffed.
life.
It did get buffed.
That's the suit you could rely on.
It potentially could be, but it'll be then even more interesting for if they're going to go heavier on the bot side. Obviously, again, what's going to be picked up for themselves too, but Vertex just have like a whole aura of question mark around them, because last week, whilst it was up against Chiefs, there were still a lot of shining moments. Like we said, they're a team that have also been able to make certain moves that doesn't feel like they're playing from behind, doesn't feel like they're playing from a 10k deficit. But now that everything's sort of jumbling around, that's got to mess with the ecosystem that they've created.
Yeah, to me, the thing, if Vertex want to have any chance of making a dent in either of these games, it's going to have to be through Chirp. He is the one pillar that's remained stable, and I think from the get-go has been their main way of winning games. They need to secure a winning mid-jungle matchup. Forever just got destroyed in the early game versus Chiefs, and if that happens again, it's just going to be a repeat, right? Because Chirp can't do anything if his top lane's losing, his bot lane's losing, and his jungle's losing. But if you're in a position where, you know, Chirp can have a lead, he can bring that to either side lane and potentially, you know, expand that through there. So it's going to really come down to whether Chirp can stay strong in the face of all these changes.
Look, that's a lot of weight on a mid laner, and he's got the biggest responsibility of all. Here's the pre-game interview. He's joining us right now. Chirp, hello, how are you feeling for today's matchup against our Wolves?
Nervous, I guess. Well, I'm more nervous than the interview, to be honest.
Okay, look, I promise it won't be too difficult. I do want to ask, though, how your sort of personal growth has been, and how coming onto Vertex has sort of helped you feel confident in the way that you play League and play in a 5-stack.
I think I was already like kind of confident in how I play. I don't think like nothing's really changed too much about how I play the game. From amateur to joining Vertex or solo queue to Vertex.
Okay, all right.
And obviously you guys have had a couple changes heading into the roster tonight. Tomasino, AD, Wood on top. How do you think that's affected your guys' preparation heading in, and what do you think is going to be important to do as a team to make sure you're still staying together?
Yeah, I think it'll be about like trying to get our bot lane through as much as possible. It's kind of awkward having an autofill, but I'm trying to make it work.
And when it comes to LCO, what are some of your personal goals? Like, if we walk away at the end of the split, what's going to make you feel really satisfied with the performance and even on the growth front for you individually or the team at Vertex?
I guess I would be happy if, for like Vertex as a team, I would be happy if we got into playoffs. Yeah, and then as a player, I'd be happy if people forward me as like one of the better mids in the league.
Awesome. Well, Chirp, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your answers. Good luck for today.
All right, thank you.
Bye. More nervous for the interview. It happens.
Yeah, wow.
I get it.
We're intimidating.
I mean,
This couch is intimidating.
yeah. Well, what
couch
can I
is
say?
scary.
This couch
Yeah.
dangerous. You're trying to make out with
I think a lot
everyone,
of that
so we
though-
can't do
Yeah.
interviews ever. That couch intimidating.
A lot of that would be self-imposed. I think like
Yeah.
a lot of that is self-inflicted, where you put this pressure on yourself. Now you're in like I'm a pro. And not like you've made it, but you're like, I need to actually justify putting in this amount of time. Perhaps you've made sacrifices. Perhaps friends, family, kind of judging you based on this kind of career path, right? So you're young. You've got to try and make it work. I can understand that.
And I do hope he succeeds, right? I've played with Chirp before. Like, he's a great kid. And he definitely is smart about the game. It's about, like you said, converting that to actually being in an LCO environment. So hopefully those nerves don't ruin him.
Yeah, I like just what he said. His personal goal was for people to think of him as this threat. Like, look, maybe not even as a whole team, but you're like, I just don't want to be going up against Chirp in mid lane. But side select. Let's have a look at it, because that could influence where our Dare fan votes are going to
It's
be
a 1-1.
going. It's a 1-1 on the blue side. Oh my God, Max, have you ever thought about going into acting? I thought that was real.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I was very shocked that they both picked blue side. We haven't seen that before. I wonder what's going to be the first pick as well. Like, I couldn't guess.
No, I couldn't.
Can't be Cassante.
It couldn't
That'd
be,
be
right?
crazy.
Surely not.
That's
Crazy,
never been
crazy,
picked
crazy.
before.
No.
But those side selections might influence you guys. I know where Max is about to point.
I don't have another pose.
Can't you do the where's my beach ball? Have you seen my beach ball?
I
You could
did
do
that
it
one
this way.
before.
Did
I
you?
did that one before,
You,
yeah.
you did that one, didn't you? You did this one? Can you do it with your legs? Do that with your legs, though.
Mini Ziz.
I can't
Up
do that.
there, where Max's leg is pointing, you guys.
Flexibility check.
There you
This is leg bra.
Yeah, I need to do some
Man,
Pilates, bro.
struggling.
I need to go on those
Hey, you can come do
reformers.
Pilates with me.
Yep, we're doing it.
Yep, that's it. This couch is now going to be the jacked couch, too. The jacked,
Jack
flexible,
and flexible couch.
intimidating
I need you
couch.
to
You
start
did not
lifting.
predict the draw.
Yeah,
We're competing now.
we are the opposites, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I did I?
Yeah, you did.
That's
did.
what we were laughing
You
at her
did.
for earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you guys were going to laugh at me for the 2-0, but oh, I said you all went for a 2-0 die wolves, and you gaslit me, and you said, no, we didn't do that.
I believe, okay, we didn't say that aggressively. What we said was it would be crazy to go for 2-0 die wolves here. And then Max was like, right?
And then Max was like, we all went for 2-0 Vertex. I was like, well, I know that's a cap.
Yep.
I thought someone would do with me for a split.
Nope.
Nope.
It's a every man for themselves game in these predictions now. That's what you got to learn. You know, any opportunity we have, we will sabotage you.
Okay, well, thanks.
That's true. That's true.
They're gonna
That's true.
sabotage me, but the one thing they can't sabotage is the game starting, because Champ Select is ready.
We could try.
We could. We could
could
just
try.
not talk about anything and just see what happened. Production would be probably panicking, but
Sante's banned. I don't know how to do draft anymore. What's happening?
What does it mean?
Could it be a Gragas?
Okay, so we need Nico to be banned, and we're really clueless.
Syndra as well as Nidalee taken away from Vertex here. So Forever, if you guys do not know, we briefly touched on it last week, is a Nidalee player. He was
Very
insane
good.
win rate, solo
Yep.
queue, high challenger player. Nidalee was his hallmark champion. Syndra is a targeted ban away from Chirp as well. So Gragas now up and available. Definitely expected from Dials, but so is the Nico. And that's where I feel like we've come into this draft now and said, well, we'll leave open 2 OPs, right? And we'll get one, you get one. I just don't really want to see the Gragas go mid, because that was where the Nico kind of handled it last time, right? And this is already, potential hover that, well, not that one, but a potential hover that's better.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you were to look in the Gragas here, you're saying, look, it could be a flex. They're kind of saying, bring it on. We'd love to see that in the mid lane as a
Yeah.
matchup, because we're not too deterred by that one. I think the Annie, is a lot more to your sort of fitting nature. If you want to be a lot more aggressive, if you've got that sort of happy medium or good wave clear, but constant kill threat to link up with your jungler, perhaps Forever can find something nice then to pair with it. Gonna go for the Wukong. I don't mind it. Pretty strong 1-2 to lock yourself in here. And
Absolutely.
potentially give your Nico a run for the money.
I mean, that's your composition's identity covered, right? Nani engaged, Wukong engaged, you've got team fighting sorted, you've got crowd control sorted, you've got mixed damage as well between both of those lanes, leaves the floor open for the rest of your composition to be perfectly fine. What's interesting here is if you did go for the Gragas, you need a really physical heavy jungler. So Shaka, who we said loves to play utility, loves to facilitate for the rest of his squad, Vi does still kind of fit that bill.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that Gragas is a necessity anymore. But if you don't pick it, you kind of leave that option open for the side of Vertex, for Wudon to nullify top lane and allow them to focus so much more on bottom. That's all. Just conscious thought that can be left up.
It certainly can be. And you can see that the Jinx is going to get locked in. Snap response is the Xayah Tomasino, usually a top laner, is going to be filling in to make their debut now as a rookie AD carry too. Champion that can be perhaps a little bit more forgiving than some of the other AD carries out there, especially in a role you're not too familiar with.
It's hard to say that. Is Xayah forgiving? She can save herself.
Well, that's what I mean, right? I mean, I understand the concept of your feathers and juggling that act and obviously trying to find the rip back at the right times and so on, but...
Yeah, Flash Gale Force Rens. Like, it's tough. The thing that I will say, and why I think that the Xayah pick has merit, is it's Vertex saying, good luck. They've got their draft together and they're like, and you are a Xayah or an Ezreal, and you have a great time down there.
Yeah.
I'm gone. Either it's a Rakan as a platform, which is going to be banned away, so there's not going to be a springboard Tomasino. It could be like a Bard-style champion, which is like, I just don't care that you're here. I'm out, and I'm going to roam and win the rest of the map, play with my Wukong and Annie for like a top lane win con or something. Wudong can play carries. I don't know exactly what it is that the Vertex are going to go for here, because it's so easy for us to look at them, Skimmy, and say Chirp is the win con, but now he's the Annie. So he's probably not.
Yes, an interesting conundrum as to where it would go. Quick reminder, obviously, due to a late switch around on Vertex's roster, they do miss out on their second 2 bans, hence why nothing is currently getting locked in. Does obviously upset the draft a fraction, given that there's a fair amount of really strong champions as it stands, but I don't really mind the idea of Rosie going somewhere like a Bard. Obviously, we know he can play it. Any kind of champion that can sort of fit the bill to roam with the Wukong and Annie and make sure that they are going to be very strong in these early moments.
The Blitzcrank as well. That's actually a good ban from Direwolves. Jax, I think, could be a viable pick for Vertex, but you'd be 5th picking it. I just think there's definitely options here for Vertex. I just don't know where it is they want to put all their eggs into, which basket. Do we just trust that Tomasino can play? Right, is going to be the question. Either way, that second ban, not going to happen, gets confirmed. Now it's Vertex's turn to pick.
Yeah, it's going to be the grand reveal, saved to last. So no insight here for Zoranis to figure out where he wants to go. Should be feeling quietly confident, as you heard from his interview with us beforehand, as to where he goes. So I'm sure...
Just a Ornn, right?
Well, that's it. He has been relegated to back-to-back games of the Ornn, but it feels so wasted when we've seen the likes of Isnara and so on.
And Gragas is still available, so that's the obvious pathway. I wouldn't have minded Ornn simply because you have a Jinx and a Nico, so you have really good ornament upgrades, as well as the Vi, in fact. But Gragas and Braum get locked in, so they kind of pick themselves up a really nice disengage angle on top of their engage combos. Both can go forwards and backwards. I like the flexibility of Direwolves here.
Sure.
Feels like their comp can ebb and flow as required, right? Like, be fluid in how they want to play this game out. Vertex, the Xayah Nautilus can be played for pretty aggressively in the 2v2. The Annie Wukong can play towards that as well quite successfully. They've given themselves what felt like a necessary second option in the comp. I floated Jax as an idea, but Gnar is going to be the angle that he chooses to go towards. Now, we have seen Gnar quite successful. We have seen Gnar's into Gragas hard lose. Jungle pressure in that lane can make things quite difficult. Direwolves, I feel like, just have such a good composition. Like, I'm looking at Vertex, and I'm already trying to throw bones. When I look at Direwolves draft, and I'm like, that's kind of sick, right? Like, they have basically everything they would need, as long as the Gragas and Braum are working with the Nico and Vi if they go in.
Yeah.
Because those two champions, if it's not a team going, can die.
Well, that's precisely to your point, where you've got 4 champions, basically, that can say we're going forward or we're responding to the threat that is coming at us. And I think that is such a strength, so malleable in their approach to how they can really go into those team fights. It's going to be an uphill battle, as if it wasn't already here for Vertex to try and respond to, given the trials and tribulations they've got to get their heads around. So I think this is... It's a nice shake-up compared to what we saw last week from Direwolves, where they felt very flat, very one-dimensional, very Praetif, can you carry us? You're unable to make it happen. We're done for.
Yeah, and I do think that Direwolves still have the same go button, the same engage that they had last time, but they've added those layers. So I do agree with you there. As we get the battle of the wolves on Summoner's Rift, game 1 of the wolf battle.
The Omegas, the Sigmas,
yeah, the
Sigmas.
Alphas. We'll see who the alpha is, or if they just go 1-for-1 and we're all Sigmas here.
The backing track starts to play, you just hear it wherever you go.
Exactly right. Is to be determined, but I think from game 1 I am a fan of what the Direwolves have composed for themselves. Not that Vertex have a weak composition, right? If this is the LPL, I look at that comp, I'm like, that's fire. Like, they go forwards, they're aggressive, they're looking for angles, they're looking for engages. Annie Wukong roam the Rift, great 2v2 as well if it comes to it. And move to your bot lane, or move with the Nautilus and make plays happen. That's what I would like to see from Vertex. And I think that's where we're going to put the lens on for this whole squad, is how proactive will they be with the comp that they have? Because there is no time, I don't think here, Skimmy, where I want to see them just slowing down and losing. I don't think their comp is very graceful, kiting backwards, with the exception of the Xayah.
It needs to be seeking out fights and, you know, tackling on adversity head on, really, as we do load into the Rift for our second matchup of the night. Newcomers Vertex take on oldcomers, really, Titans. Stemmed in a fair degree of history, having won a myriad of trophies during their time. The Direwolves. We're going to showcase that week 1 didn't in fact go their way. But week 2 could be a whole new start, especially given they've got a brand new jungler.
Do you miss the coaches' interviews here?
I do.
The empty space, do you miss talking to them? With
I do and I don't.
awkward pauses and delays?
I do and I don't. Look, we've had our moments where some coaches have given us absolute zingers. Other times we are left feeling like, let's get this one over with. And especially when first bloods are happening.
Yes.
And Twitch chats are like, guys, shut up.
Talk about the game, please. The
So
coaches can't see the game, which is why we were never able to talk about the game.
That's it.
It's just that simple. Of course, we are into the game. Mid lane starting now, of course, for those that have forgotten, Nico, very exciting champion to watch, can become minions, can become literally anything on Summoner's Drift, including plants. So Chaz can be creative with it.
It was Vertex that fell victim to it, didn't they? So
Yes.
they'll have that one ingrained into their mind as to, that's a suspicious looking plant.
Kevy put real fear into them. Every plant is a Nico for the next week in solo queue. So definitely something that has to be thought about is the creativity of the Direwolves. They will have angles. And they're very good follow-up to those anglers as well, right? Like Vi goes in, Nico goes in, they've got Braum ult, Jinx ult. The follow-up can be very successful. The Direwolves would love to be able to engage first themselves. So quiet down.
It has quietened down a little bit. More emphasis on us talking. But I am very curious to see where that bit of aggression starts from. Because last week it was all about Rosie trying to be quite aggressive in lane, trying to stamp his authority, say I've been playing this game for much longer than a lot of you. And I'm going to showcase what that can look like.
Did we ever confirm combined years of competitive experience, Rosie versus his own team?
No, that would be an interesting one, though.
I think he has it over his whole team.
Season 1, right?
Well, he's been playing competitive since, I think, 2012. And then took a break. Obviously took a break, but I think he stopped, was it 2017-ish? Maybe 2018, but like that period alone is equal to the rest of his team, if not more. So a lot of experience in the supporters. Shaka, having a look mid.
Certainly is, doing a classic level 3 gank, and that is a charge up flash on your head, and there is nowhere to run. You can't even flash that. You can't do much at all. Chaz, very grateful. He's going to find himself first blood here. It's a perfect start for a Nico.
Once again, very nicely done from these junglers, finding ways to gank this mid lane. Something that is so crucial for the success of your team right now is the ability of your mid laner to have that priority and move towards sides as a hook happens. Bottom is just going to be a bit of damage. I remember the interview from Chirp. It's about damage control with bottom. It's about trying to let Tomasino get to team fights because he is not an AD carry. He is a top laner.
He certainly is. And if you thought it would be easy for Vertex to find their angles to utilize the strength of their Nautilus, Wukong, and Annie, well, Direwolves are certainly cutting that one out as they send members towards that Scuttle Crab to guarantee it does go their way. They'll find the easy avenue to go from side to side to find both. Have to keep our eyes on.
Actually, this is a dangerous position for Vertex. You look at their wave right now, it is pushing towards Direwolf's turret, and there is a Vi who they spotted nearby. So I think if you're Vertex, you've got two choices. You push this in really fast, or you call for help from your jungler. But as it stands, right, they've taken the push it in fast approach. But now they're staring at a Vi.
They certainly are, and they're looking to try and land that Braum passive flash forward into the zap, into the Shaka engage, and it's not enough to get the kill. They committed resources towards it, double burnt there by Decoy. Vertex still will have Hex Flash available.
But if Shaka base is in this bush, they do not know where the Vi is. They still have to think about the game like this. Tomasino choosing to trade with Decoy right now actually ruins his own wave. to keep it pushing, so the Wukong has to be here once again. Fight happens, ViQ just misses, hook can go on.
That it certainly does, and Ferv is here to respond, instantly jumps upon, and punishes Shaka. You spent too long here. You recalled on a ward, and our master plan has come to fruition. As I got jump scared.
Joel, I was not ready for that one. Okay. Mid's dead, Chirp's dead. Back in action.
We're still responding to the audio, we looked away.
I've just been shocked. Bot fight though, I do think in this game of baits, this back and forth really well done by Rosie and Tomasino to make these plays happen. And also really well done from Forever, who we put a pretty big microscope on in his first series. And there's a lot of mistakes in game 2 that he got punished for, but this time around he got his full clear off. He didn't overexert himself. He cleared all of his camps, he came bottom as required. And was there in time to make sure that there was a successful play for them. Mid is the current issue.
Certainly is right now, and he's going to poke his head into that mid lane to see what he can do to try and rectify the damage this Nico has already put out into the world. Currently 2-0, only 6 minutes in. But to your point about Forever, in their last series, he was the recipient, or on the receiving end of first blood in both games. And I'm sure would have been scrutinizing those VODs with the rest of the team. It's okay, what can we do differently? What's not actually translatable from solo queue into a competitive environment?
Braid is now actually caught in this bottom lane. Rosie can continue to push forwards, but Tomasino not going to be able to get through the traps. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the Rift, there's Prey that just throws out a couple of tickle shots towards the Nautilus. Shaka's controlling the red side quadrant of the map. Compliments of just permanent pressure from this Nico, and the fact that Decoy was up there on Braum as well, just in case. Constantly pressuring. Annie in a vacuum in this 1v1 is just fine, right? Like, Nico tries to press Q, you just shield yourself, and it's return fire, equal damage back and forth. But the second that Vi came in and really influenced this and skewed the way that this lane is going, suddenly it's just permanent push, permanent pressure. No chance to walk up next to the wave as Chirp, which means it's always going against him, and he'll be second to every play.
Which is rough, right? When you want them to be the ones to start up the plays, to be the ones pouncing upon and catching you out with that burst potential as a 2v2. It certainly put them behind for the meantime.
Well done by the bot lane here at Vertex to have priority to make sure they have first move to the Drake, and it's been done for a while now from Forever. So it should be done in relatively short order. The hook attempt on the Vi, that is the Nico. They're getting collapsed on though.
Flash forward, that's the Pop Blossom, guarantees that two members are going to be locked in place. They do guarantee the Drake at least, but Forever might die for this one. His clone is not available. He cannot disengage across that wall to safety. And that will just be an isolated 1-for-1 with Shaka there. So objective for kill.
All things considered, not too bad from Vertex. It felt like the collapse was really dangerous from the Direwolves, but they didn't overcommit to it by any means. Yet Chaz flash ulted. So I don't know if it was a disconnect or if they really didn't have the tools to follow up at that time, right? Decoy and Praedyth both not level 6 for that skirmish.
Yeah.
It could just be that they really wanted to take the fight, and it was really well disengaged by Vertex. At the end of the day, like you said, it is just a Drake for a kill. It's not the worst case scenario by any means.
You keep it close and keep yourself in with a position to get excited for during that mid game, as they do have that Drake to their name. But it was a point that you mentioned about, you're not going to be wanting to find yourself at a massive deficit come mid game. It's not a game where you can afford to really lose gracefully.
Chaz actually has 0 mana here, so it makes you wonder if Vertex are going to look to consider this. No teleport there for the Nico either, but they're not going to get into the area in time. So objective goes the way of the Direwolves. Rosie going to get pushed back. Has to respect them all. And just going to be continuing to farm. It's a shame that Vertex couldn't make use of that advantage they had, right? With the teleport in mid lane. Get the Annie active would have been perfect timing. Just couldn't quite get it done.
Certainly with the Tivers available, there is that ability to strike before Chaz has his cooldowns ready to go. And in return, that is where the scrutiny is right now in this mid lane. How do you 0-2 down, handle this Nico, one of the most broken champions? If it's not Cassante, it's this champion instead. It really has been the ones at the forefront of Oceanic meta. First pick prize for a reason. Showcasing that already in this match. Checking in with top lane, Zoranis seems to be handling Woodon not too poorly. He's got his hands full, but they're trading aggressively.
I'll go back top.
Explosive Cast goes out, and a cheeky chance to find that kill.
Flash body slam with a W auto attack might be lethal.
He actually chased him completely down, read him like a book, and said, "You will not run away from me on this occasion." Guarantees it. Top lane, mid lane, it's happening everywhere. Yeah, Zoranis will die underneath the turret, but he got the kill.
I mean, Zoranis outplayed him. Plain and simple, Zoranis got the kill. He's a little bit devastated for sure to be dying there, but he got it done. Meanwhile, in mid lane, the rest of the team of Direwolves will get themselves another pick onto Chirp. We have seen a total of 0 successful Annies so far in the LCO, and it's hard to continue to find merit for the pick, but usually that's because it's into a Nico, right? Usually that's because it's been picked and it's just constantly been ganked and lost priority. And you're seeing what happens when an Annie falls behind. It stays there. It does not get better. And Vertex need to find something going their way across the board. Because right now, a kill on Tomasino doesn't fill me with confidence, knowing that he's a top main that is just filling in for this position. You want to see Woodon, Chirp, Forever, someone to step up to the plate and be the carry. But mid's been so pressured that he's effectively out of the game and is just utility Annie. Forever's been counter-ganking, and Shark has really had a solid read overall of where these junglers are and where the map state is. So something's going to have to give. Or this 1k gold difference could very easily grow.
So it could grow to something far more substantial. Rosie's been very patiently waiting in this bush. Just going to reveal now. They were waiting all along. And Shaka wasn't vision at the top side of that river. He's going to navigate down south again, where the control board will deny any ideas as to where Vertex could be looking to strike back on to wherever he goes, and forces his recall to in fact be cancelled.
Presses the attack on a clone though, and recall's also cancelled in bot lane from both Tomasino and Rosie. They have to stay now. Shaka pressuring with the Rift Herald, could be a full turret if they recalled, so they stay. No reinforcements, however. Forever's gone. He got pushed out of that jungle and he chose to just go.
Yeah, completely zoned to his top half of his camp clears, and that is an exposed turret, which is going to be completely destroyed. Every bit of plate gold going their way.
Yeah.
Guaranteed that this Jinx will be a problem.
But you want to talk about the snowball effect, right? You're looking at it on your screen right now. Why did Forever not stay bottom? Right? Why did he not help his bottom lane instead of losing a full turret for no trade? Well, it's because Nico's gone, right? Nico's pushed mid lane and has roamed bot side. There's no way to play this game out because Chirp cannot be there in time.
Yeah.
He's stuck in a losing situation and it stays that way. No teleport either. And so Forever just chooses to take some camps because they can't contest Chaz.
Yeah, he's just getting completely outranged at this point. It's very rough affair. You can see that really is the mid-jungle duo of the Direwolves here. Top of the table, showcasing what they can do, but as we say that, Woodon is certainly the outlier to that cause, despite getting outplayed in that 1-for-1.
He's still doing all right. He got himself a plate in top lane.
He's punching on, yeah.
He's punching on.
Certainly is getting it done for the boys, and that's exactly what they'll need. 20 CS lead, as you say, or a plate added to that as well. Certainly nothing to scoff at.
And Decoy looking at bottom right now, but the Vi is hovering and the Wukong is not here. If Vertex choose to take this fight, that will be losing in the long term, unless Praedyth instantly died. Chirp drops the Tibbers in mid lane, just affording himself a wave clear and a reset here, it seems like. And we'll go back to base. So game continues as per the current game state, which is Direwolves are winning, Direwolves are in control, and Vertex have not found their way in yet.
Item spike starting to be found across the board now for a majority of these players. As you see, Chaz goes back to base, picks himself up the Rocket Belt. Response is the Ludens here from Nanny, not a Rocket Belt as well, to try and perhaps close the distance and jump on a target that they need to remove nice and early.
Yeah, Chev going all in on the straight DPS pathway. With that Ludens, the move speed, of course, will be quite nice to have. Trinity Force also on Woodon means that he's got relatively strong item spike timings, but he has to deal with a Shaka in his face and misses the minion.
Yeah, he's already missed it. Yeah, he can't get the double jump away and gets completely eviscerated for it. I mean, this is Chaz on a strong champion in the fold of things, showcasing why He's an absolute menace. A complete different look from week 1 here.
Now, I know that was a flashless Gnar, so it felt bad and no real winning situation there. The Vi could still cancel your double dash anyway if she just presses Q. And the dash was towards the Vi, so it would have been cancelled. But insult to injury, of course, missed the minion completely. So it goes from bad to worse. Tried his best, but again, struggling. Mid lane is where they're looking. Praedyth is the target.
Certainly is the target. 2v2 is what they're after. Praedyth is the focus, but they cannot find him just yet. The Bevs are out, and Thomasino is waiting to rip them on back. He can't find it, but Forever will claim it. Shaka goes down, jungle for jungle. Bit of action goes place. But he's Praedyth with a scratch of HP to his name that gets the kill, gets out, and it watches as the rest of Vertex converge on mid lane to try and find more.
And it felt like it was okay at the very start there for Direwolves. They managed to stop the hard engage. Praedyth got out with his life, and then Shaka goes in onto Thomasino instead of just taking the successful disengage, and ends up giving him a free route with the Xayah Feather recall. And the interesting thing here is Thomasino was not aiming for Shaka. So you watch this back one more time. Nautilus ult comes through, guaranteed. The Wukong ultimate comes in as well. They don't layer their CC nicely, but Shaka just jumps in and says, I'll take that crowd control for you, King. And very lucky is Praedyth here that the CC just locks down this Wukong to keep him alive. But the reinforcements are there from Vertex. It was their play to make, and it was their punish to find, and they successfully get it. Kills in their favor.
Certainly do. Still keep it competitive, are they, at this point in the game? 16 minutes in, that 1k gold lead you were talking about, it's only really grown to 2. Still very much a case that, yes, this Nico holds the lion's share of that strength. Sitting at 4-1 and the only person in the game right now with a bounty. When it's not there, they can certainly find their moments to take down the other members of the Direwolf pack.
Now Praedyth, no flash. Has cleanse, but no flash into the Annie, into the Wukong, into the Nautilus, can get locked down. Also Mega Gnar, if that were to get active in the game. The issue is, like you said before, the man with the lion's share of gold on your screen. Chaz 4-0 is going to be able to break these structures with zero issue. No one contesting him in a 1v1 because the reinforcements are just hovering around, just sitting in fog of war, waiting for you to step up and stop him, and then you die.
Yeah, setting up the trap, the rotation of vision. And making it very difficult for you to find that avenue to assist your teammate, frankly saying, I can't deal with this Nico, they're 4-0. I just simply cannot handle them in a 1v1. Trying to draw that pressure elsewhere on the map, act as the conductor. As Direwolves want to continue to push on forward. Mid lane should be the focus right now, 50 seconds for Dragon, that's the play for. As we wrestle for vision control once again.
Praedyth farming like an absolute madman as well, it must be said. 183 CS at 17 minutes, finds himself ahead of the clock pretty early. Direwolves now grouped up as 4. Chaz will have to rotate, does not have teleport if they want to fight as 5. But Chirp also presenting in the middle of the lane, so it's not clear intent from Vertex to fight by any means. Instead, they're just dealing with the Direwolves push, right? They're just keeping them at bay, trying to dissuade any kind of further advance in territory. But a face check here could be devastating. Zoranus does have that flash as well and is a viable engage tool.
Rosie had the Herald and is going to summon it at the very last minute there. Was really waiting for the perfect opportunity, greeting it for as much as he could. But as you say, Forever double buff,
grouped up
lurking in the
very
wings.
much so as well, but Wudon not Mega Gnar makes it hard, so that could be the timing they're waiting on. However, he's close to Chirp with flash hook hits.
Hook is on, that's what they need. Shaka is the focus right now. Cyclone goes across, hits only 2 members. Pop Blossom knocks up 2, knocks up 3. Tippers counts as that 3 as they will look to try and zone them away. And Predav says, all right, I'll get in on the kills, I'll get in on the action and share that money. Chaz finds another. Predav is certainly feeling happy about it. 7-0 is their combined scoreline, but they've done enough damage. They've got topped up enough HP bars that they can return their focus towards this Drake.
Zoranus does go down just as a fleeting little extra bonus there for Vertex, compliments of the Ignite of Rosie, but when all said and done, Direwolves, they'll win the fight, they'll win themselves the objective that they were after as well, and they'll be able to go back mid. Forever is probably poised here to engage, but Wudon not quite mega, so he'll get a lot of damage off here, which gets him closer to, and then Chirp starts to look. But keep your eyes on the Gragas ult that stops Chirp, because this just gets chucked out, can't Tibbers, straight into a Nico ultimate. Really struggling to find access to this fight, flashes away, and his job is done because he can't do anything. Thomasino tries his best, hits a nice cleanse and puts down some damage, and they will get Zoranus, but Praedyth pretty much freely hitting. Braum keeping Praedyth alive throughout all of this, and fairly straightforward team fight from Direwolves that it was also obvious that it was going to happen.
You can see the anticipation boiling there. The forced fight in the mid lane to reign supreme to say who would win and claim themselves that next dragon.
Which again, you look at the Direwolves composition, right? The way that Vertex execute this is just straight up front to back. This Gnar doesn't have a flank. This Gnar doesn't have an angle. He's just walking forwards.
Yeah.
You're into a Gragas brawl. That's really tough to do. So if that's the fight that you choose to live or die by, then you've taken the hardest possible execution point in this game as a fight, just to kind of confirm the Rift Herald summon.
It looks like you're lacking that surprise factor, that response factor, where Gragas doesn't go, oh, I can see this angle, and right, you know, the explosive cask is so premeditated that the Annie will not be able to participate.
Direwolves only need to look forwards, right? They only need to look forwards. Direwolves lost by not looking forwards.
They were terrified last week.
Yeah. They got 2-0'd by that exact style, but this time around they get to just stand and deliver. Chaz, good flank angle.
Certainly is, but they're going to jump upon him, and there is that surprise factor onto Shaka right now. Decoy says, let's get this turret, let's deny that TP. Tibbers is down, and right now it's a 3v4 in the mid lane. Make it 5 in a second. Wudon is just expired. Back to me he goes. I don't think they'd be too interested in taking this fight. It actually forces out the Featherstorm. Let that with the Glacial Fissure. A lot of ultimates now burnt in this mid lane.
That Jinx and Braum ultimate's kind of used as an afterthought here for no particular reason. Now, Tomasino does stay healthy though with the ultimate of his own, and Baron buff, I guess, could be looked at, but ultimately I don't think it's something that you would commit yourself to by any means. Just going to be vision control. Resets come across Skimmy, nothing really happens from this one. I think for me the big talking point is a hull breaker now done for Wudon.
Absolutely.
Mans wants to hunt alone, and Direwolves, they want to hunt this Baron buff now.
It's a curious purchase, given that you'd feel like they'd want to group up as 5 and just keep going until it works. They've decided that split pushing might be the way to victory, as Dive will say, what our victory plan is to guarantee this Baron, but first let's corral you into the Baron pit, get the jump, and make it an uneven fight.
Chirp finds his target as well on the top side. Chaz.
Looking for it, flash across, guarantee 2 on either side of the ridge. It's a little bit too free, a little bit too easy. Yes, it was the clone of the Wukong, but they've done their damage.
But the Baron is stopped. So if nothing else, the Baron has been dissuaded. Wudon, however, without teleport, cannot be hunting alone with his hull breaker. So is not going to find the ultimate amount of value from this one. They do, however, get to break this mid lane in a turret, or out of turret, and that's really big for Vertex. That opens the map up a lot for them and gives so many more angles to forever on this Wukong. So when it's said and done, this 1 in 3 Annie is now 1 in 4. Big deal. They stop Baron, they got a turret.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of worth it.
Finding a little bit more time for themselves. Certainly is to be the case. And making sure that Direwolves still do not get a chance to really balloon open this gold lead to be something a little bit too crazy to try and handle.
Do they scale though, Skimmy? That's the question. I think that's where the Hull Breaker Gnar has value. It can be another item, for sure.
Sure.
I think one of the easiest ways for them to threaten the map and kind of make something for themselves. So that got dicey, and it still is.
Certainly is. Shaka jumps across that red pit inside, straight on towards Chirp's head. He's dead. He's 1 in 5. It's a double kill for Praedyth right now. The Jinx is online. The Jinx is scary, and the Jinx is running you down.
The Mega Gnar.
There we go, though, with Zoranus, who's going to try and do whatever he can to delay this one. But Tomasino gets a little bit cute, gets a little bit clever, but not enough to deny the ace. And our second quadra kill of the night.
And again, Direwolves just pick their fights, and easy pickings for Direwolves, and Praedyth in particular gets himself the quadra kill very successfully. Just gets to stand and deliver the damage. You watch this one more time. It's Shaka that finds his angle, sees forever, knows they're split, and Chirp does not get to play League of Legends in this game. The follow-up is there from the Nico. And the correct target is this Nico immediately, right? Is not survivable, but has the stopwatch. And Wudon getting Mega Gnar, it was big, but it was an afterthought. And requires Tomasino to almost throw his life away in its entirety just to try and get a trade kill and make it not a 5-0.
So many flashes burnt on that front there to try and guarantee they could try and get out of projectiles and not trade over unnecessary kills so they can avoid it. Forever going to jump across that wall, try and deny that blast cone.
Drake being started. I'm going to be honest with you, this Hull Breaker is terrible now. If you're going to play the game out for team fighting constantly, it's just objectively bad. But it is cheap, so I'll give you that.
Well, that was my
Cheap stats.
question mark about it, right? They have been grouping up a lot. It seems a little bit bizarre if that is the game plan, but they're going to stick with it right now. Rosie's been isolated. Is this going to be shredded on through, but manages to barely live. But Predator's found himself that kill. He hits the rocket. There is the 2. That's what you need. And this Jinx is unbelievable. 8-0, untouchable. Nobody can literally get near him.
Yeah, it's impossible to get near Praedyth right now. He does too much damage in the first place. And the zoning tools that they have, the space that they can create between Braum putting the door up, Gragas using the cast, Nico's entire area of respect that is required, including the Proto Belt distance, and Vi locking down the first target that tries to go forwards. There's no way into this one. I'm not even sure they need Decoy right now, to be honest with you, but we are into a brief pause and hopefully he can resolve that as soon as possible. So far, so good for the Wolfpack. I can't say that. So far, so good for the Dire Wolfpack.
For the green pack.
Over the other Wolfpack.
That's right.
In Vertex.
Look, I mean, it's been a close game. It's had its moments in terms of gold. In terms of the actual outcome of the game, it hasn't really felt close. I mean, Chirp has been really unable to stamp their mark in this. And as you say, a lot of it has been from the fact that these fights have been very much, we go forwards and we look for our kill, but it's given too much insight for Direwolves to respond and say, if they make that play, I can read it from a mile away, right? So
yeah,
we've been saying that, yeah, 1-2K, it's not too bad, but obviously the kills, the shape-up has been in such a fashion that you're saying, well, if you are to have a full-on 5v5, how do you actually deal with a 5-0 Chaz? Or
I just, like, if I'm going to be honest with you, Skimmy, like, if I was Vertex's coach right now in this draft, and, like, it's simply because you have a sub playing top, and you also have a top playing AD carry, Chirp's getting Victor or Swain or Azir or something, right?
One of his comfort champions,
You're giving him one of these champions. Orianna and your jungler is still Wukong, right? Like, I think there's something in that. Rosie gets the Rakan instead of prioritizing the Xayah. And then you have Wukong, Rakan, Orianna, you have this combo. Like, you play like that and Chirp's your carry.
Sure.
And you pray that Tomasino gets it done. Because so far, I mean, I can't really fault how Tomasino's been playing it out. I think, like, wave control is a different conversation that he can VOD review himself if he wants. But, like, mechanically, his team fights have been fine. They just don't have a mid laner. They just do not have a mid laner because he got ganked, he got put down, he got kept down.
Yeah, been unable to really find an avenue back into this game, which is obviously very, very tough into a composition built to do just that. We go forward or we play back. It really depends on the situation that the Direwolves would find themselves in. But I think to your point as to, you know, mingling in the ideas of comfort to try and beat the odds, which they certainly are stacked against them. Perhaps there's even an argument that you draft some, you know, really creative picks, something like a Shaker or Orianna, you know, like the real off your guard.
I see you've been on social media.
Absolutely, I've seen those clips. I'm thinking something along those lines, right, where it's something so out of left field, you wouldn't expect it, you wouldn't scrim against it. You're thinking, look, this is such a tough ask with the out of positions, the subs, the lack of experience, the lack of perhaps scrims with this roster. Let's just try something crazy and see what happens.
Of course, Inhibitor does fall down as we are back into this game. I would have liked Ashe for Vertex and flex it between support and AD. Just mix it up. Bit of Rek'Sai top lane. Corki mid. I'm never mad at Corki mid.
Let's get some Senna Cho'Gath.
Senna Choggers.
Bring it back.
No, Sion Senna is the go.
I'll bring that one back.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Push forwards the stun.
You played a Sion? Hey, I'm playing top lane.
It's just so easy. It's playing top lane, but having a support. I won't introduce you to my cheese that I do in solo queue at the moment.
I've still got you stuck in my mind as the Singed player.
Singed? Oh, mate. 100% win rate on Singed this season.
Hey, mate, don't want to talk about it, but 100%.
Yeah. More than one game.
One normal game. Ready for ranked, mate.
Genuinely what happened. Hook just goes wide onto Praedyth there. I mean, that was probably the only opportunity they had. A lot of the reinforcements from Direwolves now ready to go. Shaka puts himself right in the face, does not care, takes no damage.
Yeah, got the bonk on the head, but certainly no worse for wear from that one.
Tower's gone. And there they go.
It is. As soon as the tower falls on down, so does their mid laner. A Tibbers is all they can part them with. It's a gift. And unfortunately, KDD will not be too happy away. Oh my god, what a pop blossom! Everybody locked up in the air, and they are stunned, and they are flat out destroyed. Chase is going to try and limp away and protect this KDA from going any lower.
Shaka doesn't care. He's too tanky. He's just going to lock them in the fountain. Shaka doesn't care. The Nexus in danger.
Yeah. He's mind controlled them all inside their fountain. Try to get the Vi. Not to be the case, because these Nexus turrets are getting blasted. 27 minutes into this one. It's a slow one for Direwolf standards, but they'll be happy with the outcome either way. A 1-0 to start this one. A 1-0 with some very strong picks and a very strong outcome. 10-0 is Praetor to finish off this one. If he's going to look to try and pad it a little bit further inside the fountain, the game will end. Direwolf will get their just dessert.
It'll end when Praedyth decides it does, I guess. Look, it is a best-of series, so don't be afraid to keep him in the fountain, tilt him a little bit. Make him remember this game before you go into the second one. And, I mean, all things considered, a solid game from the side of Direwolves. I mean, just did their job. Shaka ganked mid. They set up the Nico to succeed. And for me, it comes all the way back to that draft. They got so many good champions, right? They got the Gragas, they got the Nico. I think they're pretty happy with that 5v5.
I'd agree. And I mean, I think we've seen a fair few Maokai bans as well. That was left up and available, wasn't even considered. Right, it was just a case of, I'll slam Vi here. I feel much stronger on this one. Don't need to actually go for the AP variant. We've got Nico. Why would we need more AP than that? So, happy days.
Yeah, I was going to say last best of two, the big figure was Cassante, ban him out. You know, we don't have an answer for him. Great, they do that. But then you leave Nico in. And then you just keep going down the line. Like you said, then you get Gragas as well. Like, Direwolves definitely walking out of that draft feeling chuffed with themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the Nico pick was probably the biggest thing that Vertex needs to take a look at. We talked about earlier Chirp needing to be the one to take control of this game. And Chaz just had him handled the entire laning phase, right? Nico into Annie. Annie, if she wants to trade into him, she's going to have to get in range of that route, in range of that Q as well. And Shaka did a great job of getting active around that mid lane early, and then Chaz really just flexing his experience on this younger rookie.
I will say, as we're watching the highlights though, it doesn't look like it's as one-sided for Direwolves as you might expect with them getting these champion pickups for themselves, also being on blue side. I thought it maybe would have been a little bit quicker, maybe a little bit more stompy per se, but Vertex really held their own. I know a few team fights went spectacularly in their favor, but I would say there's more team fights that went to the way of they were split. They didn't have great target prioritization. They didn't know who to get on, and the person who they could get on just wasn't it.
And this is the thing to me, if when you're looking at Praedyth in these fights, he never looks like he's in danger, right? Here is the closest time he gets to actually getting hit, and that's when three of the Vertex members are already dead, right? And I think that Direwolves just did such a great job. Praedyth and Decoy, even back in the PGG days, were known for playing these, okay, Decoy's just going to protect Praedyth, he's going to go crazy and take over a team fight, and that's exactly what happened here. Chaz, although he ended up with a lot of assists, I would still say is my MVP of this game, just in so many fights, landing so much utility. Zoranus, I actually want to shout out his build as well. The Imperial Mandate coming through secondary for him there. Into Gnar, Wudon, forgot to mention this earlier, but that is his pick. His Gnar is his one trick, his go-to that he has brought out in amateur before, but damage charts speak volumes, and Jinx out-damaged basically everyone combined.
It's actually 3 supports total on Direwolves right now, right? You've got the Radiant Virtue on the Vi.
Yeah.
That's a support. Imperial Mandate, Gragas, and the Brawl. It's all about protect the Praedyth, and Chaz did his job as well.
Just absolutely threw out the damage there on Praedyth with the Jinx. I'm just doing the maths. You were like,
No, I was very wrong. I was very, very wrong. It was an exaggeration.
It was, but I was wondering how close you really were. I'm trying to think of how many on the side of Vertex added up to
You've
it.
just triggered the engineer side of that there.
Sorry.
You said numbers.
Yeah, he did, and I was just like, oh wow, I wonder how close he really was.
I'm done with hosting, you said math.
But it's at least 3 of them put together, and I'm sure if you fiddled with the numbers a bit more, it's amazing damage numbers put out by Jinx there, and just never felt threatened at all. Well, what did he end up?
10 and 11 and
10-0.
10-0. He didn't get the 11th. He
I
tried.
He was in the fountain. His team was like,
yeah, he was trying.
He's having too much fun. Stop that.
Just end it.
And what enabled him to have such a crazy KDA was the fact that when Vertex were fighting these fights, and you guys mentioned this on cast, they weren't finding them synergistically. They weren't coming in together, right? They were very off-sync. Forever had some good windows. Wasn't available with the Gnar to find those opportunities as well. Direwolves did a great opportunity of having Braum block for Jinx, so even if they were getting on top of him, where's the damage coming through after that? And I think that when you have such a short range comp, you need the Wukong, you need the Annie, you need this Gnar to be coming in harmony, or else Jinx is just going to be able to kite back with a billion movement speed she gets from her passive and all that stuff.
A little bit too staggered there, maybe clean up on the team fight as well. But looking towards the game 2 of this best of 2, change-ups for bans very quickly. Sides are going to change too.
Yeah.
That's another factor into it. And if you've just played Nico and you know that you could pop off like it, do you still let it through? You're like, hey, maybe he's not as experienced with Nico. We're not too afraid of that one getting through. The Gragas, the Xante, any of those that you're like, yeah, they really need to be taken out.
To me, Cassante is a good pick to look towards when you have a top laner who is inexperienced but wants to do something. It is pretty much the simplest, okay, I'm gonna be a useful champion no matter what, right? I think either that or Gnar are something that I'm looking towards for top lane. I think Gragas as well, in that same sense, can be useful and a flex pick in a variety of roles, and it's just something you can default back to when you are feeling like, okay, hey, I really don't want to play this matchup, I just want to neutralize it. That being said, Nico first pick, I would still like to see it if Chirp plays it. I don't know if he does.
I don't know either. What I do want to see, though, is Malphite. If I'm Wudon, I don't know if he plays the Sion and Ornn, but I do know that everyone can play Malphite. And that composition's so much easier if you don't have to time your engages with a Mega Knight and you just slam an unstoppable force at someone.
See Praetive, kill Praetive.
Yeah, keep it simple.
A Mumu.
Mumu.
We do the Bronze Exodia.
Rek'Sai.
Yes.
Rex. I haven't said it this segment, guys. I'm doing well.
And he walks away and it's like, yeah, mate, 10 to 7 damage. Yeah, mate, read the patch notes.
Yeah, that one change
Yeah,
could be the
mate.
deal breaker. It could be it. He could walk away with 3 health.
That's
I'm just saying. We've got some from the fans as well, though. Hopefully that can come up on our screen because we've talked about what we want to see banned here in comp.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, read it out. Read it out,
Yeah.
Max.
Okay,
Yeah, why?
Kezi-
Why, yeah.
Kezi has said his permaban is Nico, and this is probably the most valid for right now. Having to count these minions,
All the
it's
plants.
impossible. It's impossible. I don't even know where Blast Cone spawn half the time when I'm playing against Nico. I just forget.
Yeah. That's
There's
fair.
also, like, I don't know if you've seen this, but clips sometimes, like, a red buff shows up in top lane.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you know that's Nico, but you don't process that that's Nico because it's a red buff. And in your
Exactly.
brain, you're in the middle of a fight, and you're like, what's red doing here? Like, that's so stupid.
And that's like
and
for
then
the
you die.
time that all of that processes,
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, anyway, my health is 0.
Yes, exactly.
Cool
exactly.
champion.
That's handy. Get a
Sick.
red buff in this team
It
fight.
just throws you, man. It throws you for loops constantly.
Yeah, that one's fair. I definitely understand that one. Any others that need to be perma-banned in the eyes of our fans?
Yumi.
Baby Banana feels
Oh.
Darius. If you know,
What did
you
he do,
know.
Max?
Oh, this is good. There's a Twitter clip. I encourage everyone to go have a look at it. I can't remember who posted it, but there'll be a why not reply to it. So check his replies. But
Oh,
basically,
good luck.
he's trying to kill a Darius passive. He's trying to kill a Zac passive. Doesn't pull him out of the E. Ults him, doesn't kill him. Flashes and misses Q.
Oh,
and then
no.
dies.
And that's
he's
why
like-
he should stick to gang.
He's like 0 and 9 in this clip, by the way, already. Like he's just 0 and 9.
Oh no, you've been called out live on the LCO.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
I like that one. That one's good.
We should play it. on
The
air.
clip?
We should play the clip.
If we can
Oh,
get it.
We should
yeah.
play the
I
clip.
remember the. Yeah. We'll see if we can get it. Kevin AQD said Pike is the go-to
That's fair.
perma-ban.
Super valid ban.
Yeah.
Again, at a certain point, Pike's just too annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean at like a certain point? Like, is in a skill point or game point or
A Pike can be so good that it skews the game completely. And
1v9?
Like, as a mid laner, you hate dealing with Pike support because they're in your lane constantly. And then suddenly he's got Mobies because he's 2-0 and he's top lane. Like, it's an absolute tyrant to deal with when they're good at the champion. So it's a valid ban.
Very valid. Skim, do you want to quickly tell me and everyone at home your perma-ban, champ?
Oh, so my perma-ban, we were talking about before Shaco, because I personally hate clowns.
Let's get
That's it.
That's one. Bullet
Oh,
point-
okay,
bullet
one.
point number one.
Bullet point 1. And
Number 2.
In this
Number
essay.
Oh, he's stealth. He's in the shadows. Oh, I was kind of nervous. Where's my nightlight? Kind of angsty. Oh, don't
So
know
you
where
don't
this is.
you don't like clowns. You don't like the dark.
Okay. Third, can't trust your teammates. Trust issues.
Trust issues,
Trust
yeah.
issues.
Okay.
4,
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like
Back
we're
on
not
board.
talking about the champion
4.
anymore.
I play ARAM, so it doesn't even matter anyway. True.
You just get to throw out a champion. We got another one from our fans though. Let's see. Yasuo, so my teammates don't
Preach.
pick it.
Preach.
We literally just talked about this. Sometimes,
Best one of the night.
yeah, sometimes the bans aren't for what you.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. All the
All
time.
the time.
Not for what you don't want to come up against, but what you don't want your teammates to play on.
I'm not
Yeah.
the problem. They
Got
are.
it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have to remember that some people are such aggressive one tricks that you don't want to ban the one trick because suddenly that becomes a disco nunu. So you've got to respectfully ban things away from your teammates.
Yeah, that's why you gotta pick up things like a Mumu and Morgana.
Okay.
Explain.
Subtle plug.
No, no. Oh, apparently this is the Vertex coach who
Oh,
tweeted this out. I like it.
Even better.
Yeah,
He knows. He knows.
yeah. He's trying to get it in
so are they saying we're not going to see Yasuo Gragas next game?
ever.
We
Banned.
did see Gragas.
Pain.
Pain. Last one is gonna come up on our screens right now.
That's 4.
That's so many more
That
than
is
one.
That's cheating.
yeah. How many bans does this person get? When are
That's
we playing a
crazy.
different game?
Flex Q banner. Found
Are
him.
we playing a different game? Teemo, Garen, Morgana, and Misfortune.
Your champion. Morgana gone.
Yeah.
They're telling their team what to ban. If you
We
want to win,
saw a
you
lot
wanna
Oh,
of
ban
he
bans.
just gets in. He just gets in. And he's like, this is a copy paste.
This is my
that
ban
he has.
list.
You know, like how you have sticky notes on your computer. This is it, and he just copies it, puts it into chat, and assigns each one. But he personally bans a different one.
Just copy paste spams it.
Yeah.
Have you seen the people that make PowerPoints and put them in the pre-game lobbies? That's what that guy does.
No, but I want that.
Yeah, he goes, why you should ban Garen. He has a full slide dedicated to it and goes to the next. And does
Let
all
me
of
pick
them.
Ivan. Click it. It's just like
Yeah.
10 slides.
The
Like, I am good at
7,000,
this
yeah.
champion.
Yeah, I'm
This is
not-
what
I'm
I
not
will do
kidding.
for you.
The Ivan one's the one I remember. It was like a
Yeah.
4,000 word PowerPoint on why Ivan is good and he will
Okay,
pick
you're
it
gonna
up.
have to show me this PowerPoint, and you're
good.
gonna have to
Show you
give
the
me
clip as
yeah,
well.
give me the clip as well. We're gonna have a look at that. You guys can try to find the clip yourselves. Hopefully, you can have a little bit of a laugh in this short break, because when we come back, it's game 2 of our best of 2 between Direwolves and Vertex.
For themselves. That got dicey, and it still is.
Yeah, Shaka jumps across that red pit inside, straight on towards Chirp's head. He's dead, he's 1 and 5. It's a double kill for Praetor right now. The Jinx is online, the Jinx is scary, and the Jinx is running you down.
The Mega Gnar.
There we go though with Zoranist, who's going to try and do whatever he can to delay this one, but Tomasino gets a little bit cute, gets a little bit clever, but not enough to deny the ace. And our second quadra kill of the night.
What you doing if you bite it? The proof is in the pudding, no spoon can't doubt it. Me and Hip Game nickname just body. I ain't mad at you if you're flowing it while you got it. All about $1, take your power in your own hands. You don't need no help with all your work, you got your own fans. BGs, OGs, and a couple old heads. Any individual, currency is digital. Hit them with the handle, give them just a sample. Till they hot and bothered, now they hotter than a candle. Time ain't ample, get it while you can, boo. Call it show and tell and show the world what you can do, can do. If you ready like I'm ready, let me know. Not to mention all that tension you've been feeling, let it go. Make your whole bed rock, leg lock, figure 4. Got some new moves for me I ain't never seen before. Let it show, let it show, let it show. If you got it like that, let it show, let it show, let it show. If you got it like that, let it show. If you got it like that, got it like that. If you got it like that, got it like that. If you got it like that, let me know. If you got it like that, let it show. Aye. Aye. I'll be flexing, on God, on God. I'll be flexing, on God. I'll be flexing, on God. I'll be flexing, on God. When it talks right, I can't stop talking. You might say I'm fat, but I say I'm bulking. Shot in the leg, ain't walking. Blood me, stop talking. Like I'm outside, but I got work. Think I'm out of place like a damn mouse fork. Think I'm with the place, no. Flexing, I'm running like house. On God, I'll be flexing. I'll be flexing. On God, I'll be flexing. On God, I'll be flexing. I'll be flexing. I'll be flexing. On God, flexing. On God, I'll be flexing. I'll be flexing.
be flexing.
He hooks himself back in. They want it. Kizzy's not able. It's a pentakill. Second, Neil, fight a second. Chippies is on an absolute tear right now.
Welcome back. We got our fourth and final game. It is the second game in our best of two between the two Wolf Packs, Direwolves and Vertex. Give me your best awoo.
Just did it.
Max, your turn, bro.
Is
Yo,
everything
that
good?
was good.
It's
What
good,
the
mate.
heck?
I still dies of cringe from yours, man.
I love it, bro.
That's tough.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm here to do.
Yeah, the cringe. If you guys want to have your
The
say,
cringe.
if you don't want to be cringe and you want to put in your vote for who could win Def Fan, vote all the way up there. Actually, right where that Def fridge is, right behind you. Rusty, if you want to keep those all the way moving, maybe you guys can pull out a Def.
Oh, Jesus, you're
For
asking
Max.
I
a lot
literally
here.
thought you were about to grab that
Okay,
fridge.
it opens at the other side.
Are we grabbing one?
Oh, no, yeah, we're going to grab one for Max.
Okay.
He was complaining about how thirsty he was in the break.
I was very thirsty, and look, Skimmy,
What
we
have we
had
got?
some bad blood over the
What do you want?
chocolate
You got it, mate?
ice cream.
This is how you can make it up to him.
Oh, we're gonna make it up right now.
We're gonna
got
make it
that.
up.
You're gonna hug and make up. He's gonna pour it in your mouth.
Oh, God.
Live on
Watch
air.
this.
Not rehearsed.
Watch
We
this.
will not miss this. You don't want to miss
I'm gonna
this.
start
Can I just get this one on my phone from my
You
POV
want one of these.
too,
First of all, you want to make
Hey.
sure it's double espresso. You want to make sure the intensity is a 2 out of 3, not
2
too
out of 3.
intense.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's how we like it.
Now, come here, son.
Wow, that is good. That is. Can I actually have some?
What
That
was
is
it?
real
Wait,
good.
what's better? What's better? The
Oh, I was
the dare or Skimmy's pouring?
I was about to go so cringe, but Daddy's gonna have some now.
Hey, you
Yeah.
did it anyway!
I did it anyway. You know what? Sometimes the intrusive
down,
thoughts
bro.
win. They
These
win.
guys are not win!
Down.
Sometimes I just don't stop
Have a
myself.
dare.
Put your
Have a
head
dare,
in the
mate.
camera shot.
Mm.
Oh.
Tell you what, there, you've looked after me today.
I
no
don't even
sugar
know how
as
to...
well, mate. So your gains aren't ruined.
I need to borrow
Oh,
Zoranus'
God.
help sign.
You know what they say? Those who share a dare together.
What do we do together?
Dare to dream. Oh,
Okay,
dare.
Those who share a
Just
dare
look a little bit
together.
empty, mate. Shake it up.
Stay together.
Show some magic tricks, Skimmy.
Wait, what if you put your hand here at the same time as me? What would happen if we...
That magical touch has
no.
created
Oh,
the most
too late. They
magical
blew
thing
it.
ever.
Production, they've saved us.
No, that was so beautiful. In fact, that it's made Champ Select happen and our
Oh, that's
game
awesome.
hopefully starts. Let's get on into it.
Well, Max, as much as I'd love for you to join me here, you do have to depart right now.
Yeah,
Rusty, mate.
feeling third
Look,
wheelie.
I love how you're third wheeling here, mate.
It's very odd.
Talk to me about this game because
I'm still thinking about you two touching hands, mate. Anyone want to talk about
hey,
draft?
nothing wrong with that, mate. Just
What do you
two
want
mates
from
having a
me?
good time.
Skimmy's come in today and said, I will make out with people. And he's just gone. Is
Sometimes,
this a different breed of Skimmy?
sometimes it just do be like that.
It do sometimes be
But
like
either way,
that.
mate, you were telling me before that, that game, it felt a little bit at times doomed for Vertex and went a little bit coaching mode as to, okay, really what can we look to try and change up going into game 2? And the question for us was, okay, what do you pick? What is your list of the two evils? Is it Nico or is it Cassante? Max wanted Cassante, that's what they're hovering. That is, in fact, what they're going to lock in, and I think that is a safe bet. Whether or not Chirp has that in his locker as a mid-flex is another question altogether, though.
Yes, it is. We don't know if Chirp can play it. We don't know if Wudon can play it. We assume he can. Right, fair assumption.
You hope so.
Cassante's a top laner. If you can't play Cassante, I can't believe you're a top laner. But I think the big thing for me in terms of considerations is it is still the Zerian Lucian for Vertex, and Nico had to be banned by Direwolves. So this leaves open, it still feels like it leaves open a lot of options. One of those options was not the Jace immediately in my mind. The interesting thing about Jace right now is that I think he firmly sits in only a mid laner. I don't think you see a Cassante and pick Jace and say that's a top lane matchup. I think you have to put that mid. I think that Jace is okay against the Cassante mid. Different conversation if you choose to put that one top lane. Direwolves, however, with their physical damaged champion locked in, open the floodgates for Shaka to come through. Now, Gragas was still a viable option for them, still is if they want a tank top lane or AP top lane champion with a tank Maokai jungle. So they still have that flexibility there. Vertex, this surprises me.
That is such an interesting reveal so early on. Whether or not they feel threatened that the
You know what I would
Annie's gonna
do?
be banned away?
I unironically pick Nocturne mid here, jungle here, and I just gank mid. Annie Nocturne, good luck being Jace. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I think most champions, like the Vi that is banned, can also do that. Viego, we've seen it. You have to flash, though, a lot of the time to make that work. But Annie can cover you with the CC being provided for you. Different story, though, as to how the execution's going to go. We await what Direwolves will respond with as obvious choices of the Vel'Koz, right?
Or the Taric.
Obvious.
Taric
Or the
mid.
Taric. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Taric's the obvious choice. The actual obvious choice does get locked in. Jing's still up, though.
Yeah.
So it's going to be banned.
That's it. Yeah, they banned that one away. Obviously, Zeri already banned, as
ban
well as
Xayah?
Solution. So do you just try and really whittle down the AD carry pool as much as possible and
Can you
say
imagine a top laner playing Aphelios?
they break their head?
Good luck.
Yeah.
Do you know what that weapon does? Nah.
Now, mate. Maybe they'd use my descriptions. Yep, that's the purple weapon.
He's got his purple one.
That's
That one could stun you.
that chucks out the chakrams.
Yeah, yep.
That one's the spinny.
I wouldn't
Nice.
expect them to have mastery of the white weapon chakram stacking. That's tough to do.
It is.
I would
It
also,
is.
I would expect a Xayah ban here, just given that Thomasino played it in that last game.
Mm-hmm.
You've now made your top laner playing ADC have to pick from a very limited champion pool instead of just picking an ADC in your first three. So, God, you better have something cooked up.
What have we got now? We're looking at Israel, Caitlyn, Kaiser.
I guess.
Really, there's a whole bunch of different options, but
What does... Because mid laners play AD, right? Usually they'll be the Ezreals of the world. I don't know if top laners are the Ezreals of the world when they get switched and have to flex to the AD position. I wonder.
I suppose looking at the idea of what are those sort of champions that can be self-sufficient if Rosie were to go on a magical adventure, whether that be the Bard or not. Yeah, Ezreal, Jhin, those tend to stick, to my mind at least.
Ashe, Jhin, Varus? Maybe Varus. You could slam a Varus in most situations and
Varus?
just be fine. Nah, lethality.
You reckon?
Yeah. He's got two physical champions in front of him anyway.
Yeah, fair.
Jace and Aphelios are both killable with it. Sustain aside.
Cassiopeia quietly has been locked in,
Yeah.
which is going to be the second time now. It's not just going to be a Fido champ. I'm curious.
Oh,
to see
hard
if he's
read.
top lane. Look at
Hard
that, mate.
read
Hey,
on
look
the
at that, mate.
utility. It's just so... Oh, yeah?
Oh, look at you, mate.
Oh, yeah? Didn't expect the Heimerdinger with it, but look, when you've got the Varus, you have a poke lane, double Comet potentially available as well. You could just be hyper aggressive in your 2v2. That Aphelios, though, with support still to be picked here, does make you wonder where they'll choose to go.
Yeah, you'd feel like an Enchanter would make sense here, but do they feel that they need another source of engage? Or is it all about Shaka finding the start to this? They are going to go for the Karma here.
Okay. Well, I mean, in a sense, the Karma you could consider soft engage, right?
Sure,
Like
yeah.
Maokai puts down the ultimate, tends to route them, but Karma can also 5-man speed up.
Mantra
have the
Shield.
Shirelias,
Yep.
Mantra Shield. The rest of the team is not really about engaging. You've got purple weapons, so I guess there's sometimes that you can. Cassiopeia can flash ult, I guess, or ult flash. I don't want to upset any Cass mains out
Oh,
there.
I've learned my
said
lesson
something
about that
wrong.
one,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah. It's ult flash.
Mate, get it right.
Oh, jeez. But I don't think the Direwolves have a major emphasis on engaging, right? And I don't know if they need to. Vertex will be. You got Annie, you got a necessity for those resets as well with the Viego Varus ultimates to get thrown out. The thing that is interesting to me, though, is that Vertex don't have to commit to their engage a lot of the time. Like a Varus ultimate and a Heimerdinger stun, you don't have to commit. It's not a Malphite throwing himself in, it's ranged. So they can kind of throw engages at Direwolves until it sticks, right? Throw it at the wall until something connects. But Direwolves are a slippery comp.
Well, the elephant in the room
Also
that we're not
top
talking
Cass.
about is, yeah, exactly,
I
a
didn't
top
wanna-
Cassiopeia.
I didn't want to
right?
say anything until we're in game.
Well, I think given that sometimes the games don't give us too much of a chance to talk about things.
That's not an elephant. That's a whole circus.
I mean, it certainly is. The whole parade has come out to play. I mean, really, what do we look at this as a new take on how we can beat Cassante? Because I don't mind it too much. I mean, you've obviously got a fair degree of poison damage.
What's
to
he
keep
gonna
him
do
at bay.
when he ults? He's stuck. All that mobility he has, miasma.
Yeah. That's it, right? So, like, you know, it's almost like the same argument for the Soraka we saw earlier on, to a degree, but just so much harassment, so much, it's just getting peppered down. So this feels very much Zorenis-esque.
But Cassiopeia early can run out of mana very easily.
Yes.
If you try and actually hit Twin Fangs in lane, you're out of mana. So you have to be very, very conservative with your mana usage. But a couple of things, I guess, that stand out as like the obvious parts is that the Jace should be mid lane more often than not now. The Jace is in fact mid, which is why that Cassiopeia is now in top lane. It does also make them, Skimmy, a double magic top side of the map. So if you are Wudon, you're looking at Merc Treads and thinking that's kind of just the supreme way to live my life. And it might actually be that, yeah, Cassiopeia might have some control of the lane, but it's not going to be a kill, and Cassante will be fine. We'll see. We'll see.
Either way, it's going to be a new spice on life, something a little bit more interesting, perhaps, than what has been the usual response to the Cassante so far in the LCO. So we'll...
Do you feel like that should be a ghost for the Varus over the cleanse? I mean, Maokai W is always going to have the Q smash to follow Cassiopeia. Probably not going to stun you. You've got Purple Weapon and Karma W.
Yeah, look, I think it's playing it safe, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can cleanse the Ignite.
You're just saying, look, I am off-road. I don't want to take too many chances. I'm not going to try and all walk my way to victory here.
Zorenis disappears, has been spotted, which means they should know that Sharka's at the Raptors. They pull this red buff into the bush. It should just be a smite on first camp for forever, but look how quickly Sharka did the Raptors, Skimmy.
He's going to come in time.
He's going to get there. He's level 2. You throw a sapling in the bush and smite.
Battle of the smite. Oh, so agonizingly close there. Ferry's just got in, and he's got away with murder.
He was not expecting. If Sharka was expecting someone to beat that red and threw the sapling faster, well, I mean, that could have been a very different story. But he will get out. Red buff secured back to his own side of the map. The thing that I like about this decision, Skimmy, is it near forces a vertical jungle clear from Sharka, who now has 2 camps, will not be level 3, has to go to the other side of the map as bottom. Wow.
That's what the poke and harass of Varus and Heimerdinger can do. Won't be as easy as just playing a hyper carry and scaling freely into a mid game where you can just be 10-0 like last game.
Don't let Praetor succeed. Don't let Praetor get ahead. Try and get a read on Sharka so that it's predictable. And a very nice ward from Rosie at the blue buff to confirm that that is where Sharka is. Allows top to feel safe. Allows the bottom lane to understand exactly how they can play and when they can be aggressive with their poke composition. And kind of lets the map just sit fairly equal. Chaz goes crazy.
He certainly does. He was full committing there into hammer form, but he's out of mana. Right himself completely dry on that resource, as Forever is just a little bit too late to the party, but he's going to make a play on towards this blue, which Rosie has teed up for quite a bit of time right now. Instant flash away, flash to follow! The stun grenade connects, and Decoy across the walls like, I can give you a shield, but that's about it. Run for your life, son.
He's going to live, and look at Decoy. The health on Rosie is incredibly low. Praetor is here.
They've completely razzled themselves out, so another flash has to be burnt. Turn it onto Decoy, now to battle at the stomach. Oh my god, they're still alive. Tomasino's absolutely spewing that. Another flash.
How is everyone alive?
Everybody's alive. Finally, someone falls on down. First blood is found by Praetor, and if that was the target to put on down, he's absolutely been bailed out.
And I can't help but feel like Tomasino, I have to watch that. Don't you dare die to the Grom. He should be fine. He's asking for help. He's got a shield from Decoy.
Who happened? This was it Babip that died to this?
I
And we're
believe it was.
like, yep, Smite doesn't give you HP back.
Might have been a Krug.
I think it was.
But looking back on that fight, if there was anything that really stood out to me, it'd be Tomasino's flash. That's the one thing that I would have to look at again. Because if he goes over the wall, gets autos, it could be a different story. It could be 2 kills, right? And suddenly that's a really good situation. But again, think about the idea here from Vertex. They steal the red buff. They force Sharka to this side of the map. They don't commit to a vertical jungle. They pressure. But he covers so much distance. He gets a full shield and gets a massive Mantra Q from Decoy. And Praetor's here first. And so this is now starts to feel real dicey. Rosie gets a good flash off back towards his turrets as well and gets the kite. And Tomasino does get the flash auto attack off. Just thought he had lethal. Was just slightly off, and maybe that was just a 1-for-1 trade of supports. You feel for him, but a level 3 Varus, and that is a kill.
Yeah, it's frustrating. So close to perfection there of just everybody trying to micro outplay on a smidgen of HP. Not going to change how this laning phase should play out for the meantime, at least, though. It is still going to be a lot of harass coming out between these two from Vertex.
The full Noon Quiver is done. Recall's going to get stopped here for sure. So they get to keep pressure in lane. Biscuits are there for Tomasino as well, so while it looks like he's low on mana, he should be perfectly fine. I'm surprised they're not hard pushing the wave with the intent of either stopping him or making him lose creeps. They'll get to it eventually. Top lane now going to be the port of call here potentially. Forever places a ward for him. Zoranus, as you would expect, right, doesn't have the highest mana pool early. It's that first base if it's a lost chapter or something where it can be a bit more liberal with his spell usage. By the time that wave gets pushed in, Skimmy, Praedyth misses 1 minion.
Well, that's it. I was going to say, Praedyth did get a chance to go back to base amongst all that harassment and those potential denials with that piercing arrow. What it has done is meant that we've reset first. You're forced to go back to base, having shoved in that wave. We've got numbers in the area. We can guarantee that the first objective will go our way. Guaranteed, basically, because Chaz has had a field day in mid lane to shove it in that real contest.
But Chirp is not 0-3, is actually up by a wave of overall CS as well, and is an Annie to be feared when these fights start to happen. Forever finds himself decoy, actually freaks out and runs away. They'll get a plate and a Drake at the same time, so still really nice stuff here from Direwolves. A sapling in bush to secure the safe point.
So, my question to you, Rusty. Given the changes on this patch, really what kind of build are we looking at here for the Jace? That is my major question, whether it be an Eclipse or, you know, the Youmu's, perhaps even the Duskblade. I think there's a fair degree of variation on how you could target it, be it squishy or just a roam-heavy playstyle or just constant dueling.
You know what the most common build is right now? Tibber's actually used.
Yeah, it certainly is being used. Looking to try and go for a cheeky all-in, if not a bit of money with the first strike. Forcing him back to base they go.
Big wave, by the way, if Chaz is forced to recall. He's going to pop his pots and stay, but if Forever stayed mid and tried to pressure this one out, at least have Zamaukai come in to try and help him clear, then it could have been a big wave that gets lost. Nothing else. He's going to be able to, you know, try and look to pressure some cancer himself and force Shaka mid. This is also still a giant health and mana advantage for Vertex overall. So it's a really big shame if they can't go for this red buff, given the advantage that they have. Zoranus is the difference in the end.
Another number in the area, isn't it, really? Getting aggressive now is the bot lane of the Direwolves. Look at the all-in potential! Rosie never stood a chance! Surely they can get a return. They can indeed, but the Chakrams are ramped up, ready to go. 1-0 becomes 3-0 as the Aphelios is well and truly cooking.
They pick their battle, they find their target. Direwolves very easily get the 2-for-1 trade with Praedyth still alive. Chirp perhaps was hunting in mid. Not going to find the kills and the resets will come across, but there's no Rift Herald to summon because that is up and alive and could have potentially been done during this moment. But not to be, as Direwolves will continue to run away with this game through their bottom lane. That is a monster Praedyth right now.
Disgusting. The perfect gank, or perfect 2 mana kills into Chakrams, into turret plates, into...
greedy plate.
Maybe you've stayed a little bit too long. What does he have available to him? He's got a flash and a cleanse and a mouse to click to try and juke at that grenade. Instant cleanse away from that one, run away from the rockets, then he's gone.
Rosie with a couple of stun fakes, right? Throws down a turret, gives him an animation to consider, but still holds strong with the cleanse. Does have to use it though, so a bit of a win in the end. And I guess the big thing about this trade is level 6 to level 4, there's just no health on Rosie. He gets all the chakrams up by using the red weapon active as he runs towards the fight, and it's just going to do more damage than anyone in a 1v1 there. Decoy happy to sacrifice himself for that play. Very nicely done. A Kraken Slayer at 9 minutes.
Certainly living your best life is the go-to item right now. It seems 40-80 carries on 13-11. Having been changed a fair bit. Feeling ever so strong despite not being that mythic anymore. Vertex are going to take their moment here to strike by getting some plates in return back into spot lane, and Forever's going to utilize that pro to invade and not be denied of that red buff, but at least take away the blue this time.
He's working towards his Trinity Force. He's trying to be a hard carry for the team. Chirp now very close to having that stun up, can proc that immediately, has the flash tibbers to place.
He certainly does, and he's hit it with conviction. 2 members locked in place, unable to respond whatsoever. They found it. Chaz is gone. Diego gets that reset. Vertex are feeling a little bit stronger now.
Has to absolutely hit the Jets is Shaka to safety. Decoy finds Tomasino, ignites, but there is a Viego right here.
The cleanse goes out, but he's tagged up with a sniper weapon, so it's just a little bit too free from a million miles away. Predator stands strong, he holds strong, the Heartbreaker goes out, but he can't find it! Another double kill! It's 5-0, Rusty! Mr. Philios!
Raiders won't die. I mean, when all said and done, Direwolves just have too strong of an ADC right now. Will not die no matter how low his health bar gets. Rosie.
Oh, no.
Rosie has discovered a sapling, and you can't do anything but laugh at it. You saw both Decoy and Rosie laughing at that one. I mean, that's life.
They were so ready, weren't they? They were so ready, like, please don't.
Sometimes you just walk into a bush and there's just a sapling there, and you don't know why.
He stubbed his toe in a bit of Lego. It hurts.
Yes, he did, and that Lego killed him.
He's mentally.
Been murdered. Great first play here from Vertex. So first and foremost, they find their angle. We're seeing proactive Annie. We're seeing the Annie Viego. We're seeing it work. Rosie's with the team.
Yeah.
At this point, you can go straight bottom. And Decoy really is playing with fire, knowing full well the rest of the team is here. Varus Ultimate's on, but Forever was not with them in the river. He's taken the long path. Varus Ultimate connects, the stun combo's there, but doesn't even get the Karma reset first and foremost. They can't use the ult and then use the ultimate again. That is the difference. And I think right now it's been 2 weeks of effective sample size that we've seen. If Forever gets on the same page as his team, Vertex can be a really good team. But right now he's playing for himself and he's being punished for it.
They can certainly do a few upsets here and there. But it's going to take time, like a few of these teams in this league with new players coming in. Complete roster overhauls. But it certainly sets us up for a degree of development and excitement to look forward to. Rockabert, as you saw, has been picked up by Chirp this time compared to the Ludens of last, so he does want that ability to be aggressive and find his mark, and it certainly worked out for them. But what will they do this time? Because second Drake has spawned, and Vertex are the ones currently looking at it.
Looking at mid lane, Chirp actually once again steps up but loses most of his health to the combo of Chaz. It pretty much dissuades any kind of eventuating trades here, and it should just dissipate, but with the Drake up, Chirp with no teleport. Oh, I mean, my guy needs a honey fruit or something if he wants to really stay here, and the fact that he's about to show on this wave, it's a free Drake.
Zonas went back to base, still holding onto his TP. He is going to reset through into the mid lane. Chaz finds his moment and just solos out Chirp. That's his first death of the game. That should be the numbers advantage they needed to guarantee this Drake goes their way. That's number 2. And Vertex on a bit of a different page. Attacking from the bottom, striking in the mid lane.
Oh no.
Forever's completely whiffed the ultimate. Chaz has broken his ankle, sent him back and said run away. Zonas needs to run that way. He might run him down with the poison.
Does get out. At the end of the day, they're just going to push in bottom. Varus ultimate is just used because he wants to check the button's still working. You know.
Bit lost.
You know. Decoy's low.
He's burning. Ignite is on his head, and Rosie is going to back himself to land the rockets.
And can kill here. Can kill. You don't want to mess with Praetus, but you're going to try and assassinate Decoy and get out because you're losing mid at the same time. Chirp comes in.
Rockets and Comet happen, and Chirp certainly does come back in. Hit a point to prove there. Forever backs him up, and becomes the Jace.
Completed Eclipse and Merc Treads, though, in base, so Chaz is the one who overextends himself this time. Will be punished. We're still watching this bot lane skirmish because it doesn't end. Rosie stops him with a really nice rocket. The spread is there, but do not disrespect or forget about Praetor.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
he's
Praetor.
hunting. He's hunting.
He might blast cone in.
Red-blue is a very deadly combo.
Worth noting, all he has is cleanse. So he's going to get aggressive. He's not going to have that killer punch like he did in the previous exchange.
Crit his way through it. Now he's got the red and white weapons, which is perfect for that turret taking. Rosie and Tomasino have to stay stun misses.
Chirp's on the way. Doesn't have Tibbers.
No Tibbers though. They're just dead.
And he doesn't have a stun either, but he's going to line up everything, and the combo did all come together at the right time.
Very nice. I mean, the roam from Chirp is everything in that situation. I can't help but feel like Direwolves are just doing what they want. It's probably the best way that I can explain this. That it's disrespectful, you know, but like healthy disrespect. They're not throwing the game, but they're giving way too much money to Vertex for no good reason. They'll still break the turret, but the question is, does he get out with his life, right? Like, they are pushing their luck
They're
everywhere.
enjoying how strong they are, for sure. And certainly looking to try and say, all right, Vertex, if I do this, what's your response? Do you challenge me? Do you let me get away with this?
Frustrating lane to deal with as well if you're playing into the Cassiopeia, because she just presses Q. One of them hits and it's deadly. You dodge 10, but get hit by the 11. Teleport comes in. Oh, they're dead.
Oh, they're in a pinch.
They're dead.
They are stuck up a creek without a paddle. Oh, the blast cone dead in the air. Didn't get a chance to breathe. Shaka is rewarded for that gank attempt. It starts it all off. Guarantees that, hey, you've had your fun, but it stops now.
Break a turret, pay for it with your life. Zoranus teleported, and so just like that, top gets pressured, so there is going to be a trade if nothing else. Elsewhere on the map, might just be the whole turret, to be perfectly honest with you, going the way of Vertex. And I do want to quickly highlight this just before something happens in mid, which is always likely to happen. I don't have time. I'm not going to highlight anything.
Here it is. Starts it all off with a flash, pounced on his head. Chirp's already hit the tibbers, and Shaka couldn't find that killer blow. He rooted him in place. They're still burning, forever still alive, but it goes the way of Karma in the end, and the final big night tick is all it took. But Chirp is finding more and more ability to influence from the mid lane, much more different compared to that 1-7 result last game.
It certainly is. 2-1-2 on this Annie. Has a bounty, has a shutdown on his head. The point that I wanted to highlight is still relevant here. Look at the gold. 16 minutes in. There was a point 2 minutes ago that Vertex were up in gold.
Yeah.
And it's only 1,000 down right now. They are within reach in this game. And the interesting part is, right, for the total gold graph, Praedyth is a monster at the top of the gold table, but Chirp, one of the people who is, you know, he is designed to kill carries. Chirp's right there in second place in that total gold, working towards that second item. Praedyth does have an issue in the form of an Annie.
Certainly does. And it's going to try to be dealt with by picking up a Mikhail's blessing nice and early here. That's been the acquisition of Decoy. Combine that with the cleanse, and it should be quite good to prevent any kind of overlap or any downtime between the two. Deny a whole host of CC that Vertex have at their disposal. But Drake number 3 is up in 30 seconds, and Rosie is in no man's land.
Yes, he is. Has the... Oh, never mind. Has nothing. Has 25 seconds to think about it, is what he has. Was definitely on the wrong side of the map, but also that was where his team was, so wrong side in quotes. Direwolves were actually taking the red buff and working towards this bot lane. As Wudon, if he shows, will find 3 people just around the corner and shows at the perfect time. Doesn't care, he's Cassante.
Kind of just shrugs it all off, trims the wave, whilst the rest of his team step an assault top side. They say, here's the Herald, let's have a crack at it. Let's maybe get a kill onto Zoranus, petrifying gaze. Locks only in 1. I mean, they find what they need. Yes, you didn't one-shot Chirp, but he's dead anyway. The Herald goes out. It'll do a little bit of damage, but a double kill for a Jace for a little bit of damage on the turret. I think Direwolves are happy.
It's tough to one-hit a Cassiopeia. Through a Seraph's Embrace and through a Rod of Ages, just so much health exists on that champion. It's just so hard to do. And that's one of those fights that takes place, again, disconnected in communication. Chirp wants to go, Forever's a little bit hesitant. Holds off on that ultimate constantly, actually gets himself stunned by the Cassiopeia ult, and that's it, lights out. And this is a fight that happens with Rosie dead, right? Well, he was on his team side of the map and gets punished by that Cassiopeia 10 seconds earlier. So, one of those situations you watch it back and the answer could be quite simple. Just group up, don't let the Cass kill the Heimerdinger. Summon the Herald as 3. Doesn't defend that in the first place. But Chaz was there. Right, is still an issue on this chase.
Yeah, instant TP, straight away response. Nothing in this life will be free for you. If we're trying to make a play elsewhere on the map, you're not going to get anything to try and one-up us. And talking about that gold lead you had before, I mean, once again, it's still a very close affair. And it's the weird thing about it, because you look at the strength for people like Praedyth, 6-1, you figure, oh, it's an absolute wash.
Yeah.
Only 2k in it. And yes, Direwolves now do have 3 Drakes to the name.
Varus was altered because you wanted to check that Mikhail's was working for Decoy. It is. Mikhail's is done for this Karma recall, however.
Yeah.
Not working anymore for the Karma. But what that basically means now is Varus cannot be the sole engage, Annie cannot be the sole engage. You need two people together. You need to layer crowd control. It means that Praetor has cleanse and a potential Mikhail's to keep him alive as well. And just like that, Dire will start to shut out options that exist for Vertex. With that in mind, Vertex have damage.
They do.
They have a lot of damage.
And that's why I get interested about what happens if Direwolves look to try and start up a Baron. Because I feel like Vertex have a very good squad to try and pester you from the flank and say, you might want to make this a 50-50. We're going to deplete your HP bars before you say, hang on a minute.
Threat from Direwolves here. I don't think you contest the Baron until the top lane outer turret is gone. But they will just push their way in with no regard for human life on the Vertex side. Cassiopeia going to weasel her way, or slither, I guess, not weasel. Snake after all. We'll be heading up the long way. So going to be here in mid if oh my god, Forever has flashed.
Uh-oh, Chirp.
He's pressed everything.
Oh, very close there to trying to find that moment onto Zrenis. Holds on for the meantime. Gravitum across on the back onto 2 with the Moonlight Vigil. Holding strong mid lane. They're trying to do whatever they can to get this mid-tier 1, if nothing more. Look at Jace flanking from the side right now. Out goes the root, lock and place them all, but they stand single file and guarantee nothing happens. Tomasino hits the cleanse and denies Direwolves of any opportunity to push forward and guarantee a numbers advantage to go for this Baron.
Yeah, Wudon also potentially was able to just press the W right, stand there and deliver, and then go with the rest of his team, but just to cleanse is still something that Direwolves will take. Because that means one of the escape tools that exists for the carry of Vertex is gone. Forever finds them.
You can't face check a Cassiopeia, it's illegal. And even if it is a one-man ult, that doesn't even stun them, it still gets the kill. Forever is the casualty. A barrage of damage goes onto Chaz, but it's not enough to one-shot. Rosie gets absolutely pumped. Dead. Destroyed here by the Maokai. As Praetor goes in with a vengeance, Gale forcing aggressively forward, but they said, look, hey, we've got the numbers. It's a 5v3 with no jungler.
And this is, again, one of those situations where Direwolves, we highlighted in draft, their engage is lacking. Their best engage is if Vertex come into them, and that was quite simply a face check into a bush with no knowledge of where Direwolves were. And just like that, Baron's gone, kills go across. Tomasino is playing this Varus out a little bit like he wants to get auto attacks off, but he's not able to safely get in range. Has to just deal in spells. And they're just finding picks after picks, and it is so easy for Direwolves to continue to play this style if Vertex are going to do this every single time, straight in the face. Trevor's gone, it's just a purple weapon and a crit. A good night to a Viego that flashed for no reason a minute earlier, and I really mean that. Rosie just in hot water, and they have no choice but to run away as fast as they can. And this is a perfect example. Direwolves have no engage, because they're just going to escort you out. They're just going to run away. They can't do anything else.
Their engage really is damage, and damage they do, because I mean, Forever was dead before, he's dead again. Zrenis goes forward and finds himself another kill. Double for Praetor, who's trying to one-up his KDA from last game. It was 10-0 before, it's 9-1 now. But they're teeping in aggressively to make sure that all these lanes are attended to and the 1-4 split is guaranteed.
Yeah, they're going to consolidate the leads they just got, right? Baron secured, Drake secured, team fight goes their way, turrets will drop and teleport mid to make sure they're pushing all of it. So it goes from, what, 2,000 gold in advantage for the Direwolves? We're now going to be at about 10,000 gold. Just like that, balloons out of nowhere.
Yeah, same story as game 1. It just took that one moment mid to late. They find an avenue, they find it when the respawn timers start to really add up, and they really balloon ahead with it. Praetor, the Moonlight Vigil, looks to destroy them from a million miles away. I mean, Forever has not been able to play the game for the last 3 minutes.
Wudon's on a flank, but he's been spotted, so this flank is really hard to execute, and Chirp's gone.
They're gone.
He's removed. There's no flank, there's no front line to flank for.
Oh no, Tomasino, where do you go? He's flashed, he's praying, please. Give me a chance.
You good at dodging? You good at dodging, Tomasino?
Shredder minions.
He's not.
Shock Blast was enough to definitely keep him humble inside that fountain, and the flanking Cassante will stay flanking. Flanking minions at this point, Rusty. As they're on to the Nexus itself, once again, they've beaten their record from game 1 to 2. They've trimmed it just a fraction. A few minutes shredded off here, but still having fun.
It's safer where Wudon is. It's safer where Wudon is. The base, that's not safe. One more Jace combo, and they die.
Look, we've got to make this pick worthwhile. One more kill. Cassiopeia is the answer, is the counter. But the Carnage continues inside the fountain, and Direwolves do claim the perfect 2-0.
Well, look, in the 1v1 between Zoranus and Wudon, the Cassante lived. So it was actually, in fact, safer to be out of the base than it was to be in the base for Vertex at the end there. Direwolves just kind of ran away with it, ballooned out at one big moment. And you know, the obvious parts here is that Direwolves still started pretty strong. There was a lot of dicey skirmishes early, things that could have been very game swinging in how they went, but they went to Direwolves. Direwolves kind of threw those leads away with a lot of over-aggressive moves, overstaying their welcome, giving shutdowns to Vertex, who did capitalize quite nicely, but then they just shaped up, right? They just found their fights at major objectives, and that was it.
Yeah, even if it looked like it was creative, even if it looked like they're having a little bit of limit testing, it never felt like it was really in doubt, is probably the taking point away from that game.
I like it. They're confident enough to do those limit testings that they're able to just kind of push their luck a little bit, but not so much that you can't just reel it back in and still have this game very much under your own control, Max.
Yeah, across the board, Direwolves just really had the number of Vertex. I think what looked a bit better for the side of Vertex was that mid lane. I think Chirp looked a lot more comfortable in this Annie into Jace matchup. They found some good plays around that, but the bot lane was really the big turning point. When you pick something like Varus Heimerdinger and then you're getting ran down, giving a double kill to Aphelios at the level 6 mark, it really is just all doom and gloom. And Praedyth, I think, ended this series a comfortable 22-1 or something like that, something absolutely crazy. So he got very far ahead. Props to Tomasino and Rosie for, actually spicing this up and saying, hey, we're going to try to flip the script and actually be the aggressive ones. But ultimately, they just made too many mistakes in the early game, and that ended up costing them.
I want to deep dive a little bit into the Annie versus Jace matchup, especially just like doubling down, picking Annie again on the side of Vertex for Chirp. Surely there was something else in the pool that could have proven a little bit more successful in that matchup, something a little bit more orientated with what the team wanted to execute.
Look, see, I kind of like the pick, actually, because I think when you are a team that is sort of struggling, a bit outmatched in terms of the mechanical level, having something like Annie where it is purely a test of your fundamentals, and, if there's an opportunity, Annie's able to execute on that quite reliably and quite easily, right? And that was what we were able to see with Forever and Chirp linking up in the mid lane, finding some picks occasionally. Ultimately, they weren't able to translate that down towards the bot lane, but I think that overall, I liked Chirp. He definitely bounced back from what was just a straight beating in game 1.
Yeah, which is actually a really positive sign, though, for Chirp in particular. Like, as a young player, first time in the LCO, starting a series like that is pretty tough. And then to be able to play the same champion, do the salty run back, and actually look good, I think is a really big positive for Vertex as a whole. And also in regards to like the Annie versus Jace matchup, one of the reasons that I think Jace is always a risky pick is if their jungler can gank you and their mid laner has crowd control, you often just die off repeat. So you have to be very careful with how you play that out, and it gives more agency to Chirp.
Well, guess who played against Cassiopeia as a melee champion in top lane?
It couldn't be top.
Could you tell?
Oh, that's so unfortunate. That was going to be the next thing that I brought up because, again, even though it's not necessarily the Cassante effect of, you pick him, you get to win the game, that's never as easy as that. Like, we definitely found a solution that delays his effects, that delays the impact of Cassante, that really makes you question, like, hold on, what was he supposed to be doing in this lineup? What was the idea behind him in this team comp?
Well, I mean, Zoranus is sort of renowned for this, I would want to say. I mean, we've seen him in the past play things like the Vayne, the Urgot, these kind of like quirky champions to say, okay, you think that is just going to be as simple as like, oh, I play Olaf and you play Cassante and we just have a bit of a bash up here and see who comes out on top. It's like, nah, I've actually got all this tucked away and you're going to be too comfortable with this. It might not be something that you've done in scrims, perhaps it's never been seen in solo queue. But, he's got that sort of all tucked away for a rainy day. So I think, you can see the proof being in the pudding that he finishes the game with a perfect KDA. He never really received too many ganking threats, never was under too much of a threat when he can be weak as a Cassiopeia, when you're very mana-starved. So, testament to them in the top lane there. As you say, it's not just a Cassante auto win.
No, definitely not. And I like to see that. I like some experimentation, some answers maybe being dealt out. But a 2-0 victory for Direwolves. They played fantastic. And one of the players that was the shining light in this team was Praedyth. He's going to be joining us. Praedyth, look, congratulations on a 2-0. A nice bounce back from last week for you guys.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I think we were trying to use, what's his name, Shaka this whole time, but we didn't sign him fast enough. So we had to use Poltron, who is now a coach. And I think our team functions just a lot better with this combination of Poltron's doing a very good job being the coach, and Shaka's doing a very good job fitting into what our team wants to do. So last week was a bit of a write-off for at least mentally for us. So our split starts today for us, yeah.
Well, look, a great start to the split then for you guys of what matchups you are counting. How is it playing, down on bot side with Shaka as the jungler? Do you feel like you get more support? Like, how is the communication on when you need what?
Honestly, I think like the more I'm on a team with a jungler, the more they become like my little dog. So they just follow me around and they have to play around me. So right now it's not really like that. And like I wish he was bot more for sure. So I might bully that into him in the coming weeks. So maybe you'll see more bot lane ganks happening. But I think yeah, like for now it's really working well. I feel like he can play anywhere, and I feel like he's never like falling too far behind, even if he's being really active. I think he's just a really good player. Definitely think he is the missing link to make us a top 2 team.
Fantastic.
Yeah, definitely going to train him a little bit more. But looking at some of the other bot lanes in the league, you and Decoy obviously have a history. We've seen a lot of import supports come into the league. How do you think you two personally stack up against the likes of Chiefs and Bliss in the bot lane?
I think like the 2 imports supports are actually not that great. I think I also think Eldoric's not playing his best right now, which I'm sure will change as the season goes on. But I think right now he's like quite mid. So I think we match up very well. And well, I think like every year there's always like the teams that are just like terrible. Which is like, actually I'm not going to say any names, but like some teams are just, not competitive, not very good. And I'd say like I would look at Vertex to be this team, but I actually think like they put up a pretty good fight. Like they didn't roll over like those teams would in the past years. So like I'm excited to see how they perform in the coming weeks. I guess we'll see if the trajectory goes up or down.
Yeah, I do want to talk about the fact that they did put up a pretty good fight, especially in Game 2 here. I would say, in you guys having red side, which is a little bit more the weaker side at the moment, how is the difference playing on it for you in terms of priority when you guys draft? Like, how do you personally feel being on red side? Does it feel like this uphill battle, or is it no real difference to you?
I actually think they played pretty well on blue side. I mean, on red side, and I think their draft on red side made sense. I was just being super greedy in game, so I was kind of expecting to just roll over, as I said. I don't really notice like a difference between the sides. I feel like right now draft is like you have your preferences, but for the most part it's like pretty solved. So like I'm always comfortable going into drafts. I feel like nothing can really happen in a draft. Like they triple banned me, I think, like one of these games or both these games, I don't know, but like there's always like something to play when you're not really gonna get too punished. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I think I don't really notice a difference between red or blue side. I think the better team would probably just win.
All right.
Speaking of bot lane draft being solved, I wanted to get your take on this. The OS bot lane meta is quite different to what we've been seeing internationally in terms of a lack of Zera Yumi, a lack of Lucian Milio. Why do you think we aren't playing these?
I think it just, I mean, I'm not sure, but I think it's just getting permabanned, no? Like, I can say from like Scrim's stuff is like these stuff is still being played. I think it's on stage. Like I don't think teams are comfortable or good enough to like fully punish them. So I think it's safer to just ban them. But I don't really think like I think always Zeri is banned or Milio is banned or Milo, whatever he's called. There's always like Zeri or Yumi banned or something. So I think like when teams get more comfortable versing them, you'll see it not be banned, and then maybe people will pick it, and then maybe teams aren't very good at it. But I mean, we'll see. I don't think OS is ever like strong at playing with Yumis, so I guess we'll see.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Praedith. We appreciate the interview, and look, congratulations again on a 2-0 today.
Thank you. It's good to have you back.
Thanks. Bye. That was to you, by the way. He wasn't talking to me.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Milo,
He's like,
shout
thank God,
Hey,
thank
shout
God,
out
Max
Milo.
is on. Jesus, I tell you, I miss this man. So tall and handsome. Oh, it's great to have him.
I miss Predator too. I love him. I love how he goes, I'm not going to name names
And
of
then he
these
just
teams.
No, I think
But
he was talking.
Vertex
No,
is
no, no,
one
no,
of
no,
these
no, no,
teams.
no. I will
No,
say
no, no.
he meant previously. He's not going to name any
Yeah.
previous
Oh,
rosters, and I think
yeah.
that's fair.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
think it's fair to shoot someone down like when they're maybe not in the league anymore, when they can't defend themselves. But like if you're going to name names of someone this split, that's good. Like you want to ignite a fire under people because you want the split to be as competitive as possible.
And he was
like,
positive to Vertex
Yeah,
in that,
for
right?
sure. Yeah.
Like his end conclusion was like they have potential and they
Yeah.
did put up a fight. So like he said,
mean-
we'll see where they go, but hopefully their trajectory goes up.
He's definitely belongs on the wolf pack with how many like dog metaphors and similes that he had going on over
Got
there.
that dog in him.
He got the dog in him. Woof, woof. They are the alphas, though. Direwolves coming out on top.
What a segue.
What?
You got the dog in him. Woof,
So
woof.
I need to say the
Anyway,
next
so
thing.
how's
Woof
that?
woof.
Woof woof. You know, if you this is anyone out here who wants to be a potential host, let me tell you the best segue. Woof woof. Max, what do you reckon is the MVP?
Who do I reckon's MVP for
Yeah.
this game? It's got to be Predator. He dropped like 22 kills and had 1 death. I'd be shocked if it was anyone else.
Yeah, he only died once out of both games.
Yeah. I mean, is it someone else? Because I feel like it has to be Praetor.
You know, I actually come and I sit on this couch and I never know.
Woof
that's
woof,
the
it's
fun.
Praetor.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. 20 space 1 space 2. I don't saw anything. I said 21. He's 21
9
and
plus
2.
10 kills.
9 plus 21. Yep, only 54% kill participation though, so not as heavy as we'd seen.
All I have in my head is, what's 9 plus 10? 21.
21.
Yeah.
Yeah, only 54% kill participation, so maybe that's alluding to what he said. There's not as much bot side prioritization, ganks, importance as he would personally like when he's playing in the team.
To be fair, it's very hard to have high kill participation when your solo laners are solo killing.
Sure.
So he's going to have a pretty hard time getting involved in those ones. And Chaz got a lot of solo kills.
Yep.
Yeah, he kind of popped off himself over there. He's like, hey man, you do what you want to do. I'm going to do my thing and we can just win based off of that. But play of the day is the other thing that needs to be sorted here. We know what it is. Okay, this one I do know. MVP I don't
Okay.
know. Play of the day I do know. I want to hear before we jump to it.
You've casted before, Max, so you know what it's like now to sit here and be like, I don't know what happened last game.
Yep.
Because you're so absorbed in
I'll
this
all
give
game.
you a
blur.
hint. It's
Cheon
not from last
Quadro.
game.
Oh,
That's mine. Chan
yep.
Quadra, the Zeri Quadra.
I am literally an empty head right now.
Just name a team. Name a game. The team and a game, and that'll be good enough.
Mammoth game 2.
He's got it.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Sick.
You got
I
it
can't
right
name
there.
anything else.
Max is going to walk you through it, though. Play of the day. Here it is.
All right, so here we go. This is just, we picked this because it
Oh,
was basically
yeah.
a super clean Baron turn. We can see this set up. This is at 20 minutes, basically straight after they finally engage, and it just all comes together perfectly. They lay the Hecarim ult, they lay the Alistar combo, find the 2 quick kills, and Daystar, even though he gets the ult off, is ripped straight back by TN, and it's a free Baron. And this is a Mammoth team that's making these plays so proactively, so early in the game, that they're willing to accelerate, they're willing to make these risky plays that some other teams wouldn't go for, and it pays off in the long run.
Yes, it does. It's a very nice play for them. Do you remember it now?
Yeah.
Jones, you remember
Memories have
Rusty?
come flooding back. The other option for me is also the Yersan triple knock-up at the
Sure.
Drake fight that
Yep.
happened like 10 minutes prior to this one.
Yep.
But this was a very clean turn, and I think is a good example of what Mammoth are capable of now with him in the roster, right? That aggression, that fight focus that they have can be very deadly.
And that's what they were talking about as well, was that he's become this in-game leader for the team, able to call these plays out, and having the experience that he does in all these different international leagues. Those are plays that, you know, if he can bring to those plays and start implementing into their play style, it's going to elevate the whole region.
I will say either game, by the way, of that series. If you have time for only one game, you could pick either game 1 or game 2, and you'd get so much enjoyment. That series was phenomenal. That was a great best of 2.
I just think we're in such a weird spot right now. Not in a bad way, in a really exciting way, where there's like this battle of like proven pedigree between, you know, the roster of Chiefs and Pensnet versus, you know, the upcomers and this new Mammoth upstart. Obviously, Vertex showing a lot of promise against some of these, you know, top-heavy teams. So it's just really interesting case of, okay, let's see where we are in a couple of weeks' time. Perhaps another patch comes out. Does that really upset things? Because as it stands, obviously these patches have been kind of, you know, a little bit of an adjustment there, a little bit of a change there, and it really is favouring the teams that have the better AD carry or, you know, the much better mid laner to be vocal or, you know, coordinate their roams and so on. So I'm curious to see, yeah, just how much of an upswing there is for a lot of these teams.
Great point, Skimmy. Wolf, let's have a look at the standings.
Woof,
Not too much changing up other than the fact that there's now a difference. Team Bliss, obviously, with a draw, only 1 extra point to their name, so it's 4 points. Chiefs haven't played yet this week. Direwolves, though, they got a loss last week. Getting a 2-0 this week does put them in some nice standings. Chiefs, like I said, haven't played. Mammoth getting another draw at 2 points. And then Ground Zero, Pentanet, Kanga, we also haven't seen. And then Vertex, unfortunately, now with a second loss. Still means they got a little bit of a big old fat donut next to their name.
Yeah, they'll hopefully find those wins or at least draws soon, right? To have some points,
Yeah.
not donuts. As much as I like donuts, I don't like them on the standings.
They're only a good snack.
Yeah, so they're only a good snack, not
It's the
on
only
the
time you want to
standings.
see a donut.
But you know what is a snack is our games tomorrow, Nat. I'm very excited for them.
Too true.
You like
They-
that one? That didn't even woof.
That was a good segue.
Yeah,
That's a good segue.
No
I thought
animal
more
sounds
people
required.
would laugh at my woofing, and then when none of you laughed, I was like, I hate myself. Thank you, Skimmy. You're right. These games are a bit of a snack, though. Which one is the full-blown meal, Max?
The full-blown meal, I
Yeah.
would say, out of the two, it's probably PGG Ground Zero. I think Chiefs, we've got Bio Panther versus Shinky. That's a bit of a foreshadowing of something tomorrow, but I think that's going to be, a question of what Kanga can show and whether they can maybe try to sneak a game. Ground Zero PGG, I think that both teams obviously sitting on a draw at the moment, a bit more even in the standings, and whilst, a lot of people will be predicting PGG, I think Ground Zero can surprise and take a win.
Okay. All right. Interesting that you say that, especially like your power rankings have PGG a lot higher than Ground Zero.
I also
but
predicted a 2-0 for tomorrow, but yeah, I said they
Spoilers.
Yeah.
They can. They can. If everything goes right. Is that the same one that you like to Skimmy, though? If you could only tune into one, would that be it? I mean, obviously tune into it all, right? But I'm just saying if you're time pressured. Maybe you haven't...
Depends if that match has the Trinity sauce on it.
The what, sorry?
The snack pack.
Okay, I see.
Why?
Is it tasty enough? Is it delicious enough? Is it going to give me a food coma to sit there to watch every game
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
series?
Yeah.
I think it will.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
More about yourself, Rusty. You're not going to be here.
Yeah.
Spoiler, he's not going to be here. We're all doing spoilers.
Shock, horror.
We've got
Yeah.
a date with Destiny.
I'm on a plane.
Tomorrow.
Oh, he's got
Woof, woof to that.
I wrote that down before show.
We brought in the big dogs for tomorrow.
Laugh.
Hey.
Laugh right
I'm
now.
gonna be on a
Skimmy. Yes, you will be, Rusty.
So I think it's 2-2-0s.
2-2-0.
I'm telling you my predictions right now. 2-2-0s. Wrap it up. Pentanet Chiefs. Too easy.
Oh, Pentanet Chiefs.
Pentanet
He's
Chiefs
telling
too
you,
easy.
you don't
Done.
even have to tune in
Done.
tomorrow, but trust me,
He's done his
you're
job, he's off.
gonna want to
Job's
tune
off.
in.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Job's
He's
done, mate.
signed off. That's actually why
Work,
he's not gonna come in tomorrow because he's just told us everything we need to know right there. But you should tune in because the games are gonna be great. It is gonna be our closure of week 2 tomorrow as well. And like I said, Rusty's not gonna be here, so we are gonna have a special guest. If you guys have been following Twitter, you'd already know it. I'm not gonna reveal it now. You're just gonna have to tune in same time tomorrow. We'll see you there for some Wednesday League of Legends.
Oh,
connect.
that was a little bit too clean there. Jordan tries to buffer the hook away to safety. Not going to be the case. Look at the angles. Flanked and deleted. There's a shot there that Why Not certainly wanted for himself. A little bit of retribution as Liv drags Chaeon right back into his jungle and says, that's where you're going to stay. You, Hago, and the Lissandra step up and grace them with their presence. But now, can they actually use the Baron buff? That is the question. Darshan is in trouble. He's gone golden, and one is going to fall on down, but not before Darshan actually finds himself in that 1-for-1 trade. 2 kills now for the Zeri. Flashing forward is Chaeon, sitting on a triple kill, but his lights go out as Lemus gets the kill. He'll die for it, though. Overextended to get that trade on an
Once more.
we're forcing HP advantages, we're forcing stamina advantages, we're focusing on flash advantages, jumping on in. Does go Yerstein, trying to find his moment, trying to find his stun, trying to prevent the reset, and it has been denied again. 2 kills found by Zeri. This Viego has not been able to play the game. It's a quadra, it's denied. Chaeon trying to make history being the only person to get 2 pentakills in the LCO.
For themselves. That got dicey, and it still is.
And yeah, Shaka jumps across that red pit inside, straight on towards Sherb's head. He's dead, he's 1-5. It's a double kill for Praetor right now. The Jinx is online, the Jinx is scary, and the Jinx is running you down.
The Mega Gnar.
There we go though with Zoranist, who's going to try and do whatever he can to delay this one, but Tomasino gets a little bit cute, gets a little bit clever, but not enough to deny the ace.
Will not die no matter how low his health bar gets. Rosie. Whereas he is discovered means one of the escape tools that exist for the carry of Vertex is gone. Forever finds them.
You can't face Chica Cassia here, it's illegal. And even if it is a one-man ult, that doesn't even stun them, it still gets the kill. Forever is the casualty. A barrage of damage goes onto Chaz, it's not enough to one-shot. Rosie gets absolutely pumped, dead, destroyed here